Okay, good evening, everyone that is here. Welcome to the first in a series of week-long react streams, my documentary by Joon the King. We are going to start very shortly, as in at 7 p.m. Pacific sharp. That is within 3.5 minutes. So get everything you need, get to your computers, get to your watching devices, and prepare. If you're watching this on demand, enjoy. There is no advertisements on the live stream. Okay, so that the live viewers will not have a hindered viewing experience. And basically, there's no music or any interruptions. It's just going to be a straight 2 hours of me reacting tonight. Depending on how things go, may go a little later. There's absolutely no way I can finish the documentary in one sitting. It's going to take several nights, if not all week. So lean back, relax, grab a drink, grab a snack. We will start momentarily. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the first of a series of my ongoing streams here on DSPReacts over the course of this week, where I, Darkside Phil, in the flesh, be broadcasting to you over the internet my live reactions to the newly dropped Joon the King documentary over on the Joon the King channel on YouTube. This is the longest documentary Joon the King has ever done, clocking in at 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 28 seconds. And basically, it's going to be an endeavor because I know I'm going to have a lot to say, give supplemental information, give my takes on things, apologize for things, confess to things. Who knows, right? Depends on what's covered. A lot of people are giving me a lot of different information about this documentary. And so we're going to find out over the course of this week. The way it's going to work, basically 2-hour streams guaranteed every night for the next several nights, and see how long it takes, considering how long it is. And I'm probably going to be pausing and adding a lot of information. It's going to take a while, so that's why I've laid out my schedule for night streams essentially until it's done. And I will be here on DSPReacts every night doing this with you guys. Forgot my Tesla lamp. Fancy for this, right? Yeah, I will be here every night reacting to this with all of you, okay? Now, the way this works, okay, it's an interactive stream. If people contribute to the stream, I will shout out contributions and update the leaderboard. However, I want this to be an unhindered viewing experience for all of you. I know there will be a lot of people watching this stream tonight and the future nights of the week. Therefore, there will be absolutely no commercial interruptions. I have demonetized this stream and will demonetize all future streams where I'm reacting to this documentary. It's only the right thing to do. You guys are giving me your time to be here for this live react, and I really appreciate that. So I don't want you to have to watch a bunch of intrusive ads and be skipping around because you missed stuff. At the same time, understand that this is work for me. So please, I would ask, if you're here to enjoy the stream, please support it in some way. There are so many ways that you can support my content, like super chats, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips. We have a goal that I've laid out each night that I'd like to hit in tips to continue on this awesome support streak and this awesome, really, really great positive stuff that we have had going for the last several weeks here in my content, okay? So, I hope that you guys will join me all week long and keep this rolling and support the streams and keep the positivity going. This is not going to be an easy endeavor for me, going through my history. I mean, this goes all the way back to my days in the fighting game community in my early 20s. I just want you to think about something. How many people, when they're in their early 20s, are thinking, oh, what I'm doing today, someone's going to microanalyze with a microscope 20-some years later and expose it to millions of people all over the internet to make you look like a complete jackass, right? No one has to really go through that. I wasn't broadcasting myself on the internet 20 years ago, yet here we are. And so a lot of the stuff that's going to be in this documentary is going to be stuff that I never fathomed would be important to anyone. You're going to see probably big instances of immaturity, stupidity, dunce level thinking, because I'm a flawed human. And over time, I've made tons of mistakes that I absolutely regret and have already apologized and fessed up to, some of which I haven't apologized and fessed up for, and I will probably end up doing so during the course of this live react that I do over the course of the week. All right? So please understand, this is going to be a hell of an experience for everyone here. And I certainly hope that you guys get something out of it, as much as I probably will, going down this walk down memory lane. Some people have already asked me, well, Phil, why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself through this? You're going to literally do this all week instead of doing the content that you enjoy, like gaming and the like. It doesn't seem to make sense. Isn't it like you're torturing yourself? Well, here's the deal. You guys have been amazing recently. In the last month, I have seen a complete turnaround of opinions and the way that people are treating me on the internet. Like a serious turnaround. Crazy amounts of positivity. You know, all of my views and engagement are up. My support is outstanding. People want to collab with me. This hasn't happened in a decade, all right? The way I see it, I am stepping forward into the next level of my existence, the next phase of my life, okay? And I need to put this shit behind me in order to do that. If I have all of this baggage lingering and people constantly still bringing it up, saying it was never addressed, you never talked about this, you never did this, we will never, ever get through all of this. It will always be the cross that I bear and the thing that's weighing on my back. We need to do this in its entirety, not me skipping around or whatever. We're going to watch the entire thing from start to finish over the course of the next week, as long as it takes. I will talk as much as I can. I want you to understand, I absolutely will add as much as I can, context-wise, intelligence-wise, information-wise. I'm not always going to be able to do that. There's going to be some situations where I will explain why I can't say something or do something. We'll get to those, okay? But for the most part, this is going to be a wild ride. Who else has their life under this level of scrutiny to have a 4-hour documentary made about them, covering every little thing that they've done wrong for the last 20 plus years? Not many people, okay? Especially because I'm not a big celebrity. I'm not a movie star who's a multimillionaire. I'm just some guy who broadcasts himself on the internet every day. But to have this level of scrutiny on me is incredibly stressful. And I'm still willing to do it as long as you guys are along for the ride with me and you understand the premise. I hope that we all have a good time this week and we can put this behind us. Because once this react is done, I am done with this phase of my life and moving forward to the next one. And I'm not going to be constantly interrogated and derided for this crap ever again. We're done with it, okay? To start, we have some shout-outs to do before we begin with the react. So allow me to do these. We start off tonight with El Chupacabra did a super chat to start and said, I'm a fairly new fan. I'm looking forward to the doc to see what made you be the person you are today. Let's have some fun. Thank you. Bloomkit with the super chat. I don't believe it. It's all lies. No, it's not all lies. There will be things in this that are going to be very embarrassing that I'm going to sit here and cringe along with you. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. You know, I've made mistakes many times over. I'm going to be embarrassing myself here and saying how dumb I was with the choices and things that I said and did in the past. You know what I'm saying? So, this should be an interesting ride. Destiny, I saved a female life, did a super chat. I don't think this is the real Destiny streamer. Says, I hope none of us get doxxed for merely chatting. I don't think that will happen, especially if you don't have an account on YouTube that's basically the same as your real life name, which you probably shouldn't, but you always got to be careful on the internet. Let's see here. Shuri, Satoshi with the super chat. Saw the doc, thought it was pretty good, didn't realize how serious fighting game beefs were. We'll get into it. Let's not jump the gun, but thank you for that. Purple Pickle Yum Yum, super chat says, the King's Pickle has come. That's absolutely disgusting, but thank you as always, Purple Pickle Yum Yum. And 672, looks like he became a member tonight. I'm not sure if that's a re-upping or not, so thank you for that. I'm not sure if I got any tips to call out. If you do tip me tonight and over the course of this week, you may be a newcomer doing this, right? Put your name in the body of the tip message. I will not know who you are if you don't do that. I don't get that information from PayPal. So, Ezekor just did a super chat and says, hold on. I've always watched documentaries about your downfall as entertainment, but after I saw your interview with Keem recently, I'm really rooting for your redemption arc. Much love. Thank you so much. That's a really nice thing to say. Ezekor. We've got the Beagle Boy Nerd who did a super chat. He said, I watched the first hour, but then I decided I wanted to come by and watch the rest with you over the week. Sounds good. Spencer Howard just did a super chat. Watch most of it. I haven't changed my opinion on you. Those of us who have come from Kino Casino recently are fully aware of your history. Basically, you did and said some dumb things and was an asshole at times, and we've seen worse. Thank you for that, Spencer. I appreciate all of you with your contributions early on here. You know, and you guys having my back. You know, a lot of people, I'll be honest, my detractors see today as my D-Day. I'm serious. They're like, we cannot wait for September the 2nd, Labor Day, for Darkseid to be destroyed by the Joon the King documentary and fall apart and have no viewership and have no following after this drops. Because basically recently in the last month, the cameras have turned back to them and they're all being publicly embarrassed and basically being destroyed. So now they're like, haha, well, we'll have our last laugh. Well, I guess we're going to find out this week, aren't we, as I do this react. Okay. I don't know if we have any tips. Just double check and then we'll begin. No, we got nothing. Nothing so far. Tipping, the link for tipping is in the description of the stream if you're interested. And again, the goal for tipping is $150 tonight. I hope that we can hit that to keep my support streak going. It's been 30 straight streams that these guys have been supporting me. You know, it's been an amazing month. So it's crazy that after the most positive, amazing month, now we got to tackle this together. But at least I have backing now. I feel like you guys have my back trying to go through this bloody beat-em-up boxing match I'm about to go at with myself, right? That's what they say. Like, the only way you can really defeat yourself, your worst enemy is yourself, right? So, because no one else is stopping me, that's for sure. Been around for 16 plus years, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. Seems like only self-defeat is the way to do it, right? Okay, more super chats are coming in. We've got Blue Fan 400. Have fun with this, Phil. It will make the detractors boil like the Wicked Witch from the West. Wow. Well, I guess they're allergic to water. Hard Nose with the super chat. Everyone's done dumb shit in their past, my king. Thank you, Hard Nose. And Bloomkit, we are behind you. Rise up and show them all. Thank you so very much. And then Andrew with a delicious wiener hot dog super sticker. Very delicious. Looks good. Actually, I'm not even kidding. I had turkey dogs for dinner, so there you go. I guess he knows something. Maybe he has spy cams in my house. I wouldn't be surprised. With some of the shit we may or may not see in this documentary, I would not be surprised if there's spy cameras in my house and he knew what I ate for dinner today. Seriously. Seriously. I've also received a $25 tip to start the tips rolling tonight. This is from August. That doc was the first 4 hours of my morning. I can certainly see a big change. Oh, you mean in me from what you saw in the documentary? I appreciate you saying that. I am definitely not the same person that I have been over the course of, you know, my fighting game career, my early YouTube career, even just a few years ago. I have changed, I feel, much for the better I don't want to go back to being that sour, annoying troll guy. You know, I've had such amazing levels of improvement in my both my public and private life, and I'm glad that you said that. Thank you for that. That's a very big compliment. Are we ready to begin? I think, you know, nothing else. I think we called everything out. So let's get started, everyone. Let's get the show on the road. Here we go. So here it is. Eternal Downfall of Darkside Phil. Hoo boy. Let's get it going. Just so everyone knows, no ads on this, but it's going to be around 2 hours. We'll see how far we get tonight. I have all my night streams laid out till we finish this sucker. Okay? Skunkgasm did a super chat. He says, this was live on its live premiere on YouTube earlier today for about an hour and 40 minutes, but then we got to the incident, and when the incident played, the entire thing crapped out, and that forced Joon the King to take it down and make it an on-demand video instead. My incident truly has changed the world and the internet forever. Let's be honest here. It was such a world-shaking event. Like, people who didn't even know what was going on, they were asleep, and then they what the fuck? What? It was the incident. Shook them out of their slumber. Right? I mean, wow. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, for people who don't know what the incident is, you guys are going to laugh your asses off later on. We're not getting to that tonight. Spencer did another super chat. He said, lean in, apologize for you need to, and no comment where you can't say anything. You've already shown more contrition than others. Good luck. Thank you to Spencer. Now I actually have more tips to shout out. Guys, you got to bear with me because I'm a grateful person for the support I get, so I have to shout all these out. Bloomkit with a super chat. The worst thing you ever did was work at Best Buy. Maybe. I don't know. I received an insanely generous $100 tip from Bohi Pans. Thank you, Bohi Pans, for a whopping 100 smackaroos tonight here on DSPReacts. For some reason, it says a supporter tipped $37. Don't worry. I know you tipped 100. That's just the message. Oh, actually, didn't even play because the Skunkgasm thing was playing there. So, Bohi Pants, thank you for a $100 tip. I appreciate that very, very much. I received a $5 tip from two last names. It is very admirable that you're willing to own your mistakes and react to this publicly. Yeah, I mean, again, all my mistakes already are public. I mean, the FGC stuff will be new for a lot of people. I know what I did, and I know how bad I was back then, so I'm willing to fess up to that. But most of the other stuff, I can't imagine that people who are, you know, vested in this shit wouldn't know about it already. My fucking detractors are so insane, and they just talk about it every day as if it just happened, when a lot of this shit is over the course of 16 years. So, no shock. I don't think we're going to have any alarms or surprises here, you know. I received a $15 tip. Someone said, this is a personal message. I don't know if that means I shouldn't read it. Let me just skim it here. I'm going to just say I'm assuming this is a personal message between the person who tipped and me, so I'm not going to read it. And I appreciate that, though. It's a very nice message. So that was $15. I apologize if my pop-up messages are not titled properly. I may have to look at this tonight because I thought that they all were. But then the $100 said 37. But then it didn't even work. So I'll have to look at that later. Okay. And it looks like Phoenix Arts just did a super chat and says, well, at least you didn't fake cancer. I mean, yeah, I think really, if you want to really know what I think is going on with this whole Darkside Phil renaissance over the last month, it's that basically people are now putting the emphasis and the camera towards other people besides me. I've always been the whipping boy, right? The one who everyone jokes about. I'm the ultimate butt of the joke of the meme. But now people are looking at others and like, wait a minute, this guy just did this ridiculous thing. This guy's done this awful thing. Even this big giant YouTuber who we all loved and everyone around the world bought their products in stores, we just realized they're also a piece of crap. So when all that's happening, you look at a little rinky-dink guy like me who just wants to fucking put out videos and play games every day. You're like, why are we on this guy's case again? You know, it's like the people lost the plot at some point, right? Okay. I appreciate you all with the early support. I will shout out more as it comes in, if it comes in. Let's begin. Ready? Here we go. Let's get started.
Darkside Phil is a game creator and former fighting game aficionado that has existed in the online realm for over 2 decades.
Wrong. Absolutely incorrect. I got to call out Joon right away. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only going to say stuff like that if, like, he's blatantly wrong on something, I'll call it out. But for the most part, Joon the King is incredibly good at doing his research. So I would be shocked if he gets things blatantly wrong in this documentary at any point. We'll see.
He has participated in the inception of Let's Plays, but has hardly evolved alongside them. Where most creators benefit from their window of fame, Phil, through insane spending habits, has almost nothing to show for it. It was only in 2020 that he filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, where the documents revealed his situation being even more insane than previously thought, due to his off-putting nature in that he will belittle his audience members while simultaneously petitioning them for donations.
I need the money to pay bills, and I need the money to do regular day-to-day shit.
Lie about his finances and inaccurately portray criticisms against him, he has few allies left. Content creators, large, small, new, and old, avoid him due to this and the unique community of trolls that follow him. Varying widely in intentions and actions, these trolls share the commonality of hating Phil and archiving his fumbles to great lengths. There exists a spreadsheet that is updated almost daily that tracks nearly every donation, the top donator, when the stream began, and what game was played. That's not all. There are several search engines designed to search his over 70,000 videos that even have options to show the trend of word usage. And of course, a forum with over 280,000 posts discussing him. Now,
just to start, I had no idea that those search engines existed. That's pretty insane, huh? So you can search all of my video content for 16 years and look for words that I've said? Who the hell has had that created? Right? Like, huh? We are 1 minute, 18 seconds into the documentary, and already something has happened that I had absolutely no clue about whatsoever, and I'm like godsmacked. They made a fucking search engine to search every word I've ever said in any video. To what end would you do that? Anyway, thanks, Spencer, for a super chat. I sometimes watch restreams, and when they moan about your donations, I send you another one. Thank you for that. Cave Teeth did a super chat. Phil got mad at games chat. Can you believe it? Thank you very much, Cave Teeth. And it looks like Haseo has just gifted 5 memberships to the community. Congratulations to those of you who received those. That means that you get my emotes, and you also will not have to worry about the slow mode in chat. And if there's ever a members only like stream, like my weekend Sunday streams, you can access those immediately. So, okay. All right. Wow. 1 minute. I already had to pause and talk for 3 minutes. Let's continue.
Not including side threads that would greatly inflate that number. While Phil is covered to great lengths, information is hardly ever centralized or easily consumed, prompting the creation of reasonably shorter videos dissecting different elements of his life. This video, perhaps unreasonably so, will attempt to tackle it all.
Unreasonably so. Now that I like. And he did put that in there. The dark side of the moon. Look at that. What the hell is this?
To the US population at large, November 8th, 1998 was a normal day. For the 20-year-old Alex Valle, the American fighting game champion, it was anything but. For the first time ever, the fledgling American fighting game scene was going head-to-head with the somewhat matured Japanese scene that had more financial backing, production and the coverage, and tempering than the Americans. The Japanese champion, Valle's opposition, was the 16-year-old Daigo, who had flown out from Japan to make history. The game, Street Fighter III Alpha, was the medium.
Now that he's doing this, I wish he would do a documentary on Street Fighter. Because, like, there's very few, like, really good documentaries about the past of Street Fighter. I wish Joon would do that instead of drama about me, because I would love to watch this. You know what I mean? Like, to learn all about classic Street Fighter and shit. And even the funny part about this is, even what he's talking about right now had drama involved. There was drama where one guy was supposed to win, but then apparently the brackets were rigged. So then the West Coast players, including Valle, got to go to Japan instead of the East Coast players. At this point, I wasn't involved. So this is just background. This has nothing whatsoever to do with me. I wasn't into the competitive fighting game scene until a little after this.
This could go any way, though the Japanese had the perceived advantage. That's why Valle's victory in the first match intensified the competition. As the match rules were best 2 out of 3, Valle had to win one more match to be crowned world champion, and so Valle continued his aggressive strategy and tried to put pressure on Daigo. Daigo, however, began adapting and started finding openings, anticipating Valle's attacks. Adaptation was never as important as it was here in the finals. Both sides were exposed to strategies they have never been exposed to within their local competitive scenes. With the advantage on Daigo's court, he won the second match. At this point, the outcome was hardly predictable, as both sides were solidifying their strategies.
Whoa. Oh, that was nice. That was nice, what he did there. He blew him through.
Daigo had won
the combo and blew right through him. Wow, that was awesome.
The world champion of the fighting game community, projecting Japan's strength and their competitors.
This is a hell of an intro. I didn't know that I was involved in any of this, though. I'm not in any of this, so I don't know why this is in it, but okay.
As fierce. It was historical moments such as these that emboldened new players to join the competitive environment that had only seen growth. Realistically, the only way one could compete is to join their local arcade scene, if they offered a competitive environment at all. While online play was non-existent, the internet did tend to the community by allowing a quick, cheap, accessible way to promote local or grand-scale events. One of these involved an 18-year-old Phil Burnell.
Who's that asshole? That guy looks like a Nazi or something. Someone arrest him immediately. Look at this man. That's a danger to society right there. Get him. Arrest his ass. That's right, Bloomkit. My name used to be Daigo. I forgot. I changed my name. Whoa, hold on a second here. Anyway, hold on a second here. So, Bloomkit, thanks. It looks like I received another tip, and it looks like it's a generous one. Hold on. So, I want to take a look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, I received another $100 tip from Bohe Pans. He says, fuck their search engines. Wow. Thank you, Bohe Pans. Again, for some reason, the text is wrong on my $100 tip. Actually, I think I might be able to fix it right now. There we go. There we go. And hit save and hit play. There we are. Thank you, Bohe Pants, for a second $100 tip. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Tonight, here on the first night of my multi-night react to my own documentary, we have hit 31 straight streams where I have hit my support goals. And you know what that means? Sorry to interrupt the documentary with this, but we got to do this. We got to make it rain here on DSP Reacts tonight. Thank you all so very much for being here for 31 straight streams of support, for the rejuvenation of myself and my content on YouTube. It has been an amazing ride, and the ride continues all this week here on DSP Reacts every night. I hope that you'll be here for it. Thank you for filling the king's coffers. I know it's a joke. It's a pun to say that I'm a king and stuff. We're a little more serious here tonight. But thank you all so very, very much. All right, yada, yada, yada. All right, let's get back. I just had to do it. Let's get back. Thank you, Bohe Pants, very, very much. All right. And by the way, guitar player, thanks for 18 months as a member. I appreciate that. Are you ready? Let's continue.
Initially entering the all-night space with the alias Whoa Moses, he adapted other, short-lived nicknames such as Phil, Throw Like Hell Burnell, labeled as such for his strategy of using the throw move in Marvel vs. Capcom competitions that was viewed as unbalanced. Quote, everybody said that my victory was so quote-unquote cheap, and that I had no skill, unquote. Regardless,
I have no idea what he's quoting from. This must be like ancient posts.
Phil was performing well in his local gaming scene in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The next natural step was to attend ECC, or East Coast Championships, that hosted various fighting game competitions. Add to that, he said he would attempt to go. Phil had experience attained through many years spent visiting his local arcades, an experience that would otherwise be described as a fruitless pastime. The elitist nature and other unfavorable qualities that Phil was showing were more acceptable in these communities than they would be in others. And he did have that one thing that made him memorable, his aggression. Quote, I see it every day in my town. These little fucking wimps who call themselves quote-unquote thugs and pretend they're quote-unquote tough mofos. Well, if I ever get into a fight with one of them, hand-to-hand, I guarantee you I'll be the one standing afterwards.
This is... It's so dumb. It's 100% e-thuggery, as they call it. Back then, all right, my life was pretty boring because I was, well, I think he'll talk about it, that in school, I was basically pushed to be the best I could be by my parents. So essentially, I was like constantly studying, doing schoolwork and shit. My escape was to go online and to become this crazy e-thug persona, almost like the heel of wrestling, right? I'm the big man. I'm the tough guy. So I'm going to go on the forums and I'm going to go on fucking chat rooms, like IRC chat rooms for fighting games. And I'm just going to talk monstrous shit to everyone as much as I possibly can to piss people off. And it worked. Man, people bit into this persona hook, line, and sinker. I'm curious how far he goes into it, because obviously I'd like to tell you what actually would happen when I went to a tournament and stuff, but let's see.
And if they pull a gun on me, I hope they have pretty good aim, because if they don't hit me with the first shot, I'll have already punctured the windpipe and ended their life.
Because as you know, I had much practice with this. I wonder how old I was when I posted that. Probably like 17 years old. I was just walking down the streets of Bridgeport, Connecticut, just shanking people's necks left and right like this. I was so fast, they couldn't even see me move. They actually called me the Flash, because I was just zoop, 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 zoop. I was an idiot. This is so stupid. I was a complete asshole online.
Unquote. This was in response to the general aggression Phil received when utilizing his infamous throw tactics. While Phil's response teeters from excessive to entirely unrealistic, it does expose the way he viewed himself as a macho, hardened, threatening individual. And that's why he chose his new name, Dark Side, which was directly influenced by the song Dark Side from the band Crazy Town.
I'm pretty sure I might have told him this, but the truth is, I heard the song, and I thought it was, at first I thought it was okay, but actually, in reality, I hate the song now. Like, I listen to it, I'm like, wow, it's terrible. Just like everyone used to Limp Bizkit back then. And, oh, Limp Bizkit was great. Now I hear Limp Bizkit, I'm like, oh, I feel like someone just made diarrhea in my ear. You know? But that's how it was back then. All that kind of music was very popular at the time.
The reason for the Y in his name in place of the I is to avoid readers thinking that his name was anyway attached to the Star Wars universe,
That's
as
correct.
That would be too nerdy. Phil provides other reasons for his demeanor, such as wanting to act as a heel in this developing space. A heel is someone, typically in wrestling, that is an inconsiderate or untrustworthy person, and due to their distasteful nature, the wrestling community actually enjoys matches with them, as getting trounced on is the ultimate satisfying outcome. And
Right.
so Dark Side,
right.
as he was calling himself, was set on practicing and playing the newly released Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Though his palette was diverse, this is what his sights were set on. But there was an unforeseen issue. The game, released in February 2000, meant that it was untested and would not be at the East Coast Championship. Phil's solution was to make a
Oh, I don't even remember this at all. It wasn't going to be at the East Coast Championship and I did something about it. I don't remember this at all. This is super old lore. Okay, let's see what I did. I have no clue.
tourney of his own at Motel 6 with a $5 entry fee. The results are unknown. What is that Phil was ingraining himself in his local community, and that he
I don't remember. I actually don't remember at all what happened. I don't remember. I don't recall. I guess I don't remember that at all, but everyone wanted to play Marvel 2, and I guess they just couldn't get enough things. I mean, I entered a zillion Marvel vs. Capcom 2 tournaments at ECC. I guess they just didn't have it at that one. I have no idea. I literally have no recollection of it whatsoever. Let's see. Purple Puggle Yum Yum, thanks for the super chat. And looks like there is a tip here to shout out quickly, and then we'll continue. I don't remember that at all. But that's how it was back then. Like, I would just take initiative. If something was going wrong or whatever, oh, they're not going to have this game. Oh, let's just fucking have a tournament. You know, my guys in Connecticut want to go to a tournament. I'll fucking drive. Let's all carpool and shit. That's how it was back then. I received a $5 tip. Someone is asking me what bitrate I'm recording at and streaming through at OBS. 15,000 kilobits per second is my stream right now. That's what I do. 15,000 kilobits per second. That's why it looks so crispy. Nice and crispy. Okay, here we go. Thank you for the $5 tip.
Graduated high school as the valedictorian. A valedictorian is the highest-ranking student of a school's graduating class. The bestowment of such a title opened doors of opportunity. Ivy League colleges were in his purview, but he wasn't in theirs.
Yale rejected me. Harvard rejected me. There were 3 of them. I can't even remember what the third one was, but every Ivy League school that I applied to said, no. When you want to know why they rejected me, it's this simple. Because I'm a white male.
Where there is Phil Burnell, there are bound to be inconsistencies.
Whoa. He ended the quote. He didn't finish the quote. I'm going to see if he finishes the quote. If he doesn't finish the quote, that's kind of messed up because that's not what I said at all.
And lies. Here he states that it was because he was not racially diverse enough as a reason for not getting in, then later flips the excuse.
Just off of that premise, it wasn't my extracurriculars, it wasn't my academics, it was based off the fact that I wasn't a rich white person. Okay, now he said it. I'm not a rich white person. I needed the assistance, the financial assistance. okay? If I was offering to just pay them the entire tuition, maybe I would have had a better chance. But I was a valedictorian who had tons of extracurriculars, all the qualifications you would think you get into Ivy League college. My advisor at my high school told me, yeah, you're exceeding everything. You absolutely have a great chance of getting into an Ivy League. My problem was I couldn't afford it. So I had to apply for financial aid. And the moment that you do that, there you go. Just so you guys know, I don't know if he continues with the story. There were kids from my high school who were not valedictorian, who weren't even in the same level of classes as me, that got into Ivy League schools. They were athletes. So I bust my ass in high school to try to basically prepare for my future. I worked my ass off to get a good future. And then I'm told, sorry, you're white and you're not rich. We don't want you. You know, maybe if you qualified for one of these other check boxes that we're looking for, we would have had you here. But we're not looking for people who are smart. We're looking for all the check boxes. That's literally what happened. I even said, I went to my advisor after I got turned down, and the advisor told me that. I said, don't feel bad, because this happens all the time. This is not you. You worked your ass off. You're the top person at this school. There's nothing you can do about it. Go enjoy life, and don't feel like you failed because you didn't. So there you go.
Another reason
Thank you, Dick Jones, for 5 gifted memberships, by the way.
Phil provides for not getting in is that he signed up for financial aid, which he claims triggered an immediate rejection from the Ivy League schools. Whatever the case, his future had more potential than most. Throughout it all, he was still going to local tournaments. Here he recounts how the entrance for a local tournament doubled from 16 to 32 in just a year. He won this tournament, and with that, he is losing his potential. To make it big in this flourishing environment, practicing the game would have to encompass his life for nearly the next decade. And to finance the traveling, he took out various credit cards as his job selling yogurt did not provide enough income.
Well, that's also not true. I didn't have any credit cards when I was young. I had credit cards in the mid-2000s, in which I financed my big Evo trips and stuff. No, I did bust my ass at that stupid health food job, pumping frozen yogurt and making salads, and I made a lot of money doing it, and it all went into my hobby. That's the only reason I could afford to travel, is because I was working since I was 15 years old. I wasn't even old enough to legally be employed. The guy who owned the store paid me under the table for a year, and all my money from that job financed my travel to play Street Fighter. It wasn't credit cards or anything early on. That wasn't until like the mid-2000s when things got worse for me.
Well, you go to Evo 2K4, the fighting game championship.
700 players from all over the world, Japan, Europe, North America, South America, all over, right?
There's insane competition in the fighting game community, especially from Japan nowadays, and it's like
David Serlin, epic man in the fighting game community. He's both loved and hated. Food Shops with the super chat says, I miss the old Phil. He was so cool. Thank you, Food Shops.
because, you know, who cares about the Flash? You can.
Oh my God, it's APOC. I haven't seen APOC in 5 zillion years. He's a top Super Turbo player from back in the day.
Flash there. Make sure the gameplay is solid. No more stupid additions.
Inadvertently, the fighting game community is getting like a giant showcase in this documentary that probably 1 million people are going to see. This may be like the biggest piece of fighting game stuff in a long time. That everyone's going to see the old FGC from my documentary. That's pretty insane.
Those were moments from Evo 2004. Evo, or Evolution Championship Series, was becoming the end-all be-all for competitions in the fighting game community. Every year the event grew. It grew rife with competition, controversy, diversity, and of course, increased attendance of Darkside Phil.
East Coast versus West Coast.
So this was a stupid rivalry I had with a guy named Shady K from the West Coast. We hated each other. We talked shit online all the time. And we wanted to do a big money match at Evo. And we both had agreed to it and everything. And then they let us play only one match. And then they just called the whole thing off. And the thing was, the match wasn't like one-sided. He beat me the first match, but it wasn't one-sided. It was a decent match. And then they just said, oh, fuck it. And they canceled the whole thing. I was, huh? So what was the point of even doing the one match? It was really stupid.
In this particular moment at Evo 2002, the infamous Darkside Phil was selected as a sort of representative of the East Coast theater.
No, that's not true at all. This was a rivalry that I had with Shady K. if this is what this is. And then we had this big match. So I don't even think this is Evo 2004. This is 2002? No, if it's 2002, this is not Evo 2000. This is not Evo. No, it's not the Evo he's talking about. This is B5. I think this is B5, which is before they even called it Evo, or this is the very first Evo. No, this is the very first Evo. This is the very first Evo ever was 2002. That's correct. So this is the very first one. And we had a rivalry online, and we were finally going to play, and then they called it off after one match. Now I'm remembering. It wasn't me representing the East Coast. It was supposed to be like a real rivalry, and then they said that to be stupid and funny. Oh, East Coast versus West Coast shit.
Commentary from the people recording demonstrated how welcome he was.
They hate me.
Bill, you are not East Coast, please.
See?
As much as Phil promoted his ability, when it came to Evo, the player base was at an entirely different level than he was used to. Losses here were common, and people did not take kindly to his hostility online where he was physically threatened his opposition.
I was the guy who always talked shit. I was the guy who always was like, man, don't get in my face at a tournament. I will fuck you up. I will throw you in a trash can. I will, I used to do that.
But in person, that was a different story.
I mean, online, he would freaking, run his flap and post a lot and respond to everything, but when you see him at the tournaments, he just sits there, he's not doing nothing.
Why would I? Again, I was being the online heel. I was the one who I wanted everyone to hate. So when you go to the tournament, you always want to see Phil go up against someone, and it got me a way to get spotlighted at the tournament. It also got hype because you have to understand something. I should go full screen for this. The way that fighting game tournaments worked back then, here's literally what it was, okay? You go into an arcade or you go into a ballroom, and it's a bunch of sweaty fucking stinky-ass dudes, all right? A couple hundred of them, and you're literally just standing around waiting to play your match for hours on end. It's not fun. If you get to play the match and win, it's fun. But what's fun is to see rivalries, to see big matchups, to see people who have been talking shit all the time against each other, to have a highlighted match focused on, and now you have something to do instead of waiting for your match all fucking day, right? So you would actually go and, okay, I want to watch this. Let's see Darkside Phil versus Shady K. Let's see Darkside Phil versus Mix-Up from Florida, who wiped the floor with me, That was hype. People wanted to see that. So let's see the shit talker either actually deliver or get his ass handed to him. And it actually added a new level of entertainment to these events. Some people didn't get it and thought I was actually like a fucking asshole who was going to cause problems. I literally never caused a single problem at any tournament I ever attended. I never fought anyone. I never threatened anyone. I never brought a weapon. People who knew me in real life said, we know it's an online persona. But the people from across the country who didn't know me in real life didn't understand that. You see, they took it very seriously, and then there was problems with certain people, which I'm sure he's probably going to cover. So let's get back to it.
That was Jaha, one of the more hot-headed...
Look, boy, that was like right on fucking key, like perfect timing. Like dead on correct timing right here, okay?
Players that was not afraid of confrontation.
He was talking a bunch of shit against like the top Marvel players, so Shady K was one of them, and Shady K didn't like him too much because he would like run his mouth so much. I mean, this guy would make posts that were like a mile long. When DSP was leaving with like him and a couple of his boys, that's when it was time to like roll up on him. We followed them outside and we caught them outside, and they were getting up in like, DSP's fucking friends' faces too, just to fucking make sure none of them got crazy, but they were all fucking shitting bricks. He just turns fucking white, and it's funny because he just like talks so much shit on the internet, but when you run into him in fucking person, he's just fucking, turns white as a ghost.
Because it's talking shit on the internet about a video game. No one was like, oh yes, we're actually going to go to Evo and start a fight, and we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, there was never any intention of actually starting fights. These people took the shit seriously. They didn't get the joke. They thought it was real. So they're coming up to Evo, oh, we're gonna fucking beat the shit out of people. Dude, it's a fighting game tournament. Where did you think that there was any level of seriousness? In fact, at this very tournament that he's bringing up, after we had the one match where Shady K beat me, at the end of the tournament, I went out of my way to find Shady K on the way out, and I said, dude, just so you know, it was all bullshit, all right? I'm sorry that I acted that way. Let's shake hands and just call it quits, and we won't talk shit to each other anymore. And Shady K said, no, I refuse, and he walked away. I don't blame him, because I was an online asshole. If that were me being bullied, the way that I was going at him online and being a dick, if someone did that to me, I also would not want to shake their hand. But that's me today, older and wiser. Back then, I didn't understand that this stuff that I was doing online was actually causing people like pain and they felt harassed and shit. I thought it was fun and funny and that people were liking it because of the hype that it was bringing to tournaments. I had no intention of ever going and fighting someone at a tournament. Some of these people did. Jaha is infamous. He's had all these different run-ins and altercations at Street Fighter tournaments where he's gotten in people's faces. At one point, there's rumors he hung people over balconies by their feet. Like, he's fucking done messed up stuff like that. And so he has to get involved. I didn't talk any shit about this man. He interjected himself into the situation because he felt that I was an asshole. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, in this case, I can't speak for anything else Jaha has ever done. In this case, Jaha was 100% in the right. I'm going to say this publicly. Now, when I look back at my behavior back then, I'm embarrassed. I am so fucking embarrassed that I acted like that and I caused problems and stress and drama in a community that didn't really want it. I thought I was helping, but I guess to a lot of people, I was just the real problem in the community. Jaha was justified for wanting to beat my ass, okay? Today, if someone acted like that to me, I would want to beat their ass, all right? So I get it now, but I was an immature little idiot and didn't get it back then, and my behavior was stupid. And I've already, by the way, apologized personally to Shady K for my behavior, and he has accepted my apology. And I really appreciate that he did that. So, yeah, is this situation 100%? I was in the wrong. I fess up. I do not fault Jaha whatsoever for wanting to fuck me up at Evo and at another tournament in the future as well, because, you know, this behavior was stupid. It was dumb. Why are we talking about wanting to fight people at a fucking fighting game tournament? Why am I saying I'm going to stab people? Well, I didn't say I was going to stab anyone at a tournament, but I was talking big, like I was an online e-thug big shot. Why am I going to say I'm going to throw someone in the trash can? It's dumb. It's stupid. People just want to fucking play fighting games. They don't want to have stress and drama and shit going on. It's all on me. So I'm actually, like today, I'm not saying that Jaha and I would ever be cool, because I don't think he would be cool with me. I think he's hated me like forever because of my behavior 20 years ago. But I'm on the same page as Jaha. I hate old Phil. I think old Phil was a little piece of shit, big shit talker, but then in real life didn't want to fight. So why are you talking like that online? That's bitch mode shit. You know what I mean? Why are you saying that shit if you're not intending to act on it? And I admit that was bad. And I really wish I didn't do it, but here we are 20 years later and I'm being called out for it. So I guess, you know, you got to face the music at some point, right? So here we go.
DSP was able to diffuse the situation by paying Shady K, Jaha's friend, $10. They arrived to that amount from a money match that was meant to go 10 rounds for a total of $100.
That's what was shown. That was the first match of the 10-round money match, and it never happened. So then he's like, pay $10. What? Okay. And I took $10 and I threw it on the floor, right? And then he yelled at me for throwing it on the floor. How dare you throw that on the floor? Okay.
But since it was cut short due to time limitations, and DSP only fought and lost a single match, Jaha and his crew were able to swindle those $10 that DSP had no obligation to pay. But even then, it was cheaper than a trip to the hospital. As for...
You could say that, but here's the truth. If anything had happened, do you understand how bad that would have been for the fighting game community? Just so you know, that was Evo Part 1. That wasn't at, like, Vegas venue. That was at a university. So if we had broken out into a fight, okay, and actually started going at each other, not only would we have been arrested on both sides, because it was me and my friends plus them on their side, it would have been a big brawl. It would have been fucking news all over the local news. Everyone would have said, these players have ruined the fighting game community. Now we all look bad because these idiots fucking broke out and having a giant fight at Evo, right? And that's what I mean. Like, yes, I was an online shit talker, but at least I was smart enough to know, no, you don't fight in a fighting game venue that's now going to get everyone in the community looking bad. Jaha didn't know better. Jaha would have fought me and beat me up if I didn't throw $10 on the ground. He literally would have done that. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like Jaha, because he doesn't know better. He acts on emotion rather than rationale. He thinks he's doing the right thing by beating up the shit talker, but it would have made the entire FGC look terrible. So, you know, you got to try to figure out what's the best thing in each situation. I diffused it by throwing the money down and say, let's get the fuck out of here so these guys we don't all end up in jail and then the FGC gets ruined because of us acting like morons, right? Let's see here. So Soap and Clay, thanks for the super chat. He says, these are bringing back memories of childhood. You should do an IRL stream and go down to Dorkies in Tacoma. I don't know what Dorkies is, but thanks for the super chat. Clammy V with the super chat. Punk and Zhao Hai had a kayfabe feud recently. I have no idea what you're talking about. And 672 did a super chat. Should have throat checked them like you were talking about. No. I did not actually throat check anyone ever, in real life, online, ever. It was just me being stupid. But thank you for the super chat. Okay. Let's continue.
For the forums, or the medium DSP would unleash his threats, Shoryuken.com, or SRK for short, is named after a popular move in Street Fighter. DSP continued to expand his character, adding the tagline, The King of Hate.
And the whole idea behind the King of Hate moniker was everyone hates me because I talk so much shit online, but no one can do anything about it because in person, I could hold up my end of the shit talking and win.
I understand you got something you want to say about the DSP.
Nah, I don't got nothing to say about that little retard. Down syndrome Phil.
I don't even know who this is.
Now, in 2003, Phil's infamy grew to new heights after he was banned from the SRK forums. Even the smaller competitions he did win would not be received with commemoration, but ire. In addition to the displeasures at his victory, was what appears to be...
You knew that they were going to bring this up? You knew this shit was coming. The most... Okay, so my early trolling attempts, okay, in the fighting game community were basically me posting in chat rooms, posting on a forum, talking shit. When that got old, I was like, this isn't really working anymore. I decided to go the next level. I decided to actually purchase a website that would basically shit on everything. Like, the entire point of the site was try to shit on everything that annoyed me in life. And it was very over the top. It was very, you know, strongly worded. It's not stuff that I would ever say or do today. This is like 20 years ago. Actually, it's more than 20 years ago, right? And you're probably going to laugh your ass off at the shit I said on this site because it is funny as shit in perspective today to look back at some of the things that I said on this website. But I don't know if he's going to talk about it. This tophaters.com is a parody of a West Coast gamers site called topplayers.com. So there was this group of Street Fighter players that lived in California, and they thought that they were big shit, okay? They thought they were the best players on the planet. So they had the balls to actually register topplayers.com as a domain. And they all started joining and putting profiles up. And it was like social media before social media existed. And they started posting up, oh, here's what I did at this tournament. Here's what I did. And everyone else kind of looked to the website who didn't know these guys and laughed at them. And they were like, these guys are kind of like embarrassing. They're claiming they're like the top players. They're not the top players. But, you know, so I created a parody site called tophaters.com. The whole point of which was to basically make fun of them. But after it actually got some clout and some attention from people in the fighting game community, they liked it. I actually expanded it to be a blogging site where I would do these over-the-top crazy blogs about topics that blew, you know, you're going to see. I'm sure he's going to talk about some of these right now. Let's see.
Phil advertising his website known as tophaters.com. Further investigation reveals that this website of Phil's creation was a response to topplayers.com, a West Coast-centered Street Fighter website. Looking further into it, this is not just a response to Top Players.
Why we hate. Why we hate. This went so far, I'm not kidding you. I opened a mailing list, and I had hundreds of people say, I want to join tophaters.com. I want to be in the hate army, Phil. I'm not kidding you. It got popular. It was a movement in the fighting game community at the time. It was not huge, but it was funny. It was pretty funny.
Lashing out at his infamy. There is much to unpack through the multiple pages of this website.
It's a blog. Yeah, it's just a crazy blog about over-the-top shit. If he addresses certain articles, I'll tell you more, but let's see how far he gets into it.
This page alone, he challenges some of the fighting game culture he himself is guilty of. On the main page, he informs readers that he works at Circuit City. On this thread, he is hating on the mechanics of Guilty Gear, a different fighting game. His words and his culture do not resonate within the fighting game community. Even so, he petitioned for financial support supposedly to run the website while also complaining about the lack of users. Despite a clear lack of support, Phil went...
Actually, like I said, I had a huge mailing list. It's just that no one was supporting the site or anything. I was paying for it out of pocket. You know, it wasn't like, oh, send me a ton of money to keep blogging or anything like that. but I'm pretty sure that I did ask for like some contributions to pay for the web server or something like that.
Went onward with a new project known as Impact. As TopHaters.com was Phil's answers to TopPlayers.com, Impact was Phil's answer to Evo. And even though Phil
All right, so he actually didn't go into the articles on TopHaters.com. I guess we don't have to go any further. I was going to say, like, a lot of my style of stuff that I put on that website, if anyone wants to check out the archives, there was this guy in the internet back in the day called, I think it was Maddox, he was called, Maddox, and he would do these kind of unhinged, over-the-top blog rants, just crapping on things, ripping them a new asshole. And I've been inspired by him to make those kind of posts on this forum. To be honest, I was kind of inspired by him to do it, but I don't know if that's anyone pertinent who anyone would know today or not. I mean, it was so old. You're talking over 20 years old or whatever. Okay. All right. No, I don't think it's this current guy who everyone says is Dick Masterson. I think it's another guy that was way before him who I was inspired by his post to make that site and be like that. So
continued to attend, he sought to make his own large-scale event. Quote, it's obvious that Impact is going to compete heavily with Evo, unquote.
Yeah, right.
On the threads created by Phil to promote Impact that included fundraising, brainstorming ideas, and other items meant to trigger discussion, on average would have at most a single other response.
Right.
That was also the only respondent to the majority of Phil's posts. Even threads discussing how much Phil sucked garnered more attention on his website than Impact. Top Haters...
Yes, because, again, this wasn't serious. The entire site was a troll attempt. You understand? Like, the whole thing was a big troll op. And the whole idea that I was going to run a tournament to compete with Evo, how? The Cannon brothers have tons of money. They were able, through their programming experience, to fund Evo, to make it happen. I was a kid working at Circuit City with no money. How was I going to start a competition tournament to Evo? It was a joke. The funny part is, from what I'm going to understand, it pissed people off. You know, the Cannon brothers and the people who ran Evo, like Mr. Wizard and everything, were really angry with me that I would say I was going to run a tournament the same weekend as Evo. They're like, come on, man. No one does that. No one runs a tournament the same weekend as someone else's tournament. Why would you do that? Like, they actually got upset, even though it was a joke. It was totally never intended that it was going to be like a real thing. I didn't have money for a venue. I didn't have money to roll in arcade machines and shit. It never was going to happen.
.com was a failed project. DSP now espoused to this negativity will not use his character to his benefit. Instead, he used it to attack beloved franchises like Counter-Strike and Warcraft 3.
And again, it's a joke. I played Counter-Strike and Warcraft 3. I played them and liked those games. This was supposed to be me going crazy over-the-top rants to get attention. It was very stupid.
Even then, that was only a distraction from his assaults at fighting game culture. Here, he lambasted what was known in the fighting game community as
what's up with all those combo videos? Losers. Can you not tell it's a troll op? Can you even believe this is real? Why would I say that combo videos are bad? Back then, if you got a combo video, it was like a golden opportunity to learn tech in a fighting game without being physically at a tournament, seeing someone do it. There was no YouTube. There was no fucking Twitch. So, of course, combo videos were great. They were a great resource. But I would be a fucking contrarian. And I would literally say, oh, it's terrible. What a bunch of losers to make those videos. And then people would be upset. That was the point. I was the heel. Get it? That's the joke.
Combo videos. In the early days of the fighting game community, CDs were exchanged in person. These carried videos of various combos or tactics one could utilize. Yet the existence of them were also controversial as groups could gatekeep the data. Now, with the internet in play and data shared at a faster pace, tactics and their discovery were virtually immediately adapted and the meta was becoming solidified. Even still, the combo video situation is more complex than just defining metas, as DSP points out. Quote, in some cases, the combo videos are single character only or console only, unquote. The last bit is of utter importance. Now mid-2004, arcades have long been losing their purpose to the increasingly popular home video game console, and a switch of competitions prioritizing consoles could increase accessibility for players.
We're entering the console arc, everyone. This is the big thing that everyone always made fun of me, and the FGC tried to discredit me for the console arc. Of course, it's going to be blown apart. I wonder how deep Joon goes into it. We're going to find out if he actually researches and justifies or not. We'll find out, okay? We'll see if he gives me a fair shake here. By the way, thank you, Jubbanubs, for a membership. I appreciate that. Jabril did a super chat saying, this will be a hard watch, but keep your head up, King. Make better financial decisions in the future. I firmly intend to. Also, Network 621 had done a super chat saying, I'm glad you can finally admit the heel persona was not needed and unwarranted in the early FGC. Being an internet tough guy is always bad. I know. Listen, I know. Now I look back at it and I cringe. Like I said, literally, if I were in Jaha's shoes, I would want to beat up young DSP because he's an asshole. Now, I would know better than to try to start a problem at a tournament and get everyone into big trouble, get a bad reputation for the community. But seriously, like, I was a complete piece of shit. I'm 100% in agreement with Jaha on that one. That I deserved it. I deserved an ass whooping at that time because I was a troublemaker. I received a $2.25 tip from Sour Nipples. You really think Jaha hung people by their feet? Really? I don't know. This is what you hear, right? You know, I heard that long after I was done in the FGC, he continued to go to tournaments and stuff and got like banned. Like no one wants him in the FGC anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what you hear, though. That's the shit you hear through the grapevine. I saw Valle arguing with Jaha on Twitter, yelling at him for shit like that, saying, dude, this is why you're not allowed anymore. So, you tell me. Okay? No, and I'm well aware that Jaha still talks about me today. Like I said, I think he just has like a lifelong grudge against me, even though literally I don't care about the man. I wish him the best. I hope he has a good life. I'm sorry for the problems that I caused when I was a young asshole. I have no intention of causing those kind of problems in the modern day. That's for sure. Dick Jones with 5 more gifted memberships to the community. Thank you, Dick Jones. I appreciate that. Okay.
And allowed for significantly cheaper and easier to manage components as consoles and their elements could be set up and altered with ease. This transition was controversial only for those brought up in arcade culture and those in competitive gaming communities. When a game, like Street Fighter for example, is ported from the superior hardware of an arcade cabinet to the limited or vastly different video game console, color, resolution, and most importantly mechanics could differ based on the port. And though the technology and quality control had improved, it was still not good enough. It was a jump that would eventually have to be made, but perhaps it was too soon.
Evolution console? This is my worst nightmare, dude. I'm an arcade player. I hear you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if this is the future, we're gonna have to. It's evolving, so we're gonna have to adapt. Personally, I don't like it, but you know, no choice.
And that's exactly what they refused to do. They refused to adapt. They all didn't practice, and they got hosed. And you're about to see the story right now.
That was Alex Valle at Evo 2004, sharing what was the popular opinion among the top fighting game players. And to the displeasure of many, their worst nightmare would manifest in ways they could hardly predict.
You ready? Their worst nightmare was about to manifest in ways they could never predict. The biggest fucking troll of the FGC beat them all. I just want you to think about that for a second. I want you to think about that for a second. For years, I was the one everyone hated or loved to hate. And then I went to Evo and I beat all the fucking top players in Super Turbo and made it the highest ranking American spot in the tournament. And they all were out and I was in. Dude, that is so fucking, to this day, I mean, you could say as much as you want, but dude, here it is in black and white. Right there. You cannot delete the screen. It is there forever. There I am, 4th place. The top 3 are all Japanese players who were much better than all of the Americans at the time. None of us were going to beat them. They were hands down much better than us. But the fact that I just did what I did that year, and that's why they all hate me. They can't stay. The biggest troll actually was the best player that year. Dude, they got fucking crushed. They couldn't believe it.
Evo 2005 would live in infamy for its decision to use the PlayStation port of Street Fighter II Turbo and the outcome of the matches. Both.
It only would live in infamy if I won. Let's be clear here. Let's be very fair. If Alex Valle, John Choi, Mike Watson, all right, the big 3, or any Japanese players or whatever, if they were the top placers, it would have been perfectly fine. But because Darkside Phil got 4th place and beat all the Americans, that's why the tournament says it lives in infamy, right? That's the only fucking reason. They hated me, so they discredit the tournament. You know, I know what the most fucked up part about that is? Because I said this before, actually reacting to a different documentary. When they say that, do you not understand you've discredited the top 3 Japanese players? Now, everyone knew that the Japanese were the best players. So why is it that the Japanese were able to get the top 3 spots easily, no problem, but all the other American players couldn't hang, and I beat them all? Did you hear the Japanese say, man, this thing's a piece of shit. I can't play this version of the game. No, they practiced the version. They came to Evo. They dominated. They won as expected. So why couldn't the other players do that? Instead, they all sat there whining and stomping their feet that they didn't like the version. I can't play the way I like to play, blah, blah, blah. And then they got handed their asses in a paper bag by me. They can't take that away. It doesn't matter if it's an inferior version. The Japanese adapted. I adapted. You adapt too. But they didn't like the fact that they didn't like me and I kicked their ass. That was the problem.
Would receive protest in one way or another.
In 2005, I think it was, the 3 of you were absent from ST Top 8. What happened that year?
When you play Bison and you hit a Fierce Flame and it only goes like 20% of the screen, you got a problem with the game. And you got some idiot named DSP, who's a total piece of shit, by the way.
John Choi on the left, Mike Watson in the middle, Alex Valle on the right. There they are, the top 3 American players in Super Turbo, arguably of all time. And here they are talking shit about me. Okay?
I like to get that on YouTube.
And this was from 2010. This is a video from 2010. I had long retired. I wasn't a competitive player anymore. I had stopped attending Evo since 2007. So I'm long removed from the fighting game community. I'm not talking about these men. I don't care about them. I'm a YouTuber now. I'm making YouTube videos, having fun. It's my hobby. And they decide in a 2010 interview to dunk on DSP, who doesn't talk about them and doesn't care about them. So I've been in their mind rent-free at this point for the greater part of, 5 years since I placed at Evo 2005. They just can't forget the fact that I beat them all.
But this guy thought he was hot shit because he beat me and Choi in a game that was like, it's like fucking Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap, dude.
First of all, I have to bring this up. Alex Valle did not enter this tournament. He spelled his name wrong, Joon. It's V-A-L-L-E. There's no second E in there. It's V-A-L-L-E. But, I mean, the video is already published. Kind of sucks. Maybe you want to put a correction for his name there. He claimed he was busy and he couldn't show up. Bullshit. He was like, oh, I'm protesting Evo because they're not holding Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to enter or whatever, right? Yet he was still there, but he didn't enter. He did not enter the tournament. I'm going to name some names now, people who I played and beat that day in the Super Turbo for the PS1 that you might be like, what the fuck? Jason Wilson, Mike Watson. Pretty sure I played John Choi and I beat him too.
DSP at Evo 2005 surged in the ranks for Street Fighter II Turbo, a feat that was achieved through a superior knowledge of the game.
Wow, wait a minute. Someone actually gave me credit. Joon says I won because I had superior knowledge of the game, which is what you do when you want to win in a competition. You learn what's going to be played in the competition, correct? I can't believe it. I actually got some respect from someone for fighting games? Hallelujah. Finally, someone admits that I actually studied the game and that's why I did well. I can't believe it. Wow. Okay. During that period of time, I learned some major differences about the game, including the fact that some characters were different sizes. They weren't as tall or as short as they were supposed to be, and they had different hitboxes. I found out certain characters did different stun amounts than they did in Arcade Super Turbo. I found out that one of my characters, Vega, was incredibly easy to do these complex combos with, which actually was harder to do in the arcade version of the game.
The beauty of Phil's achievement, in now beating all of his American opponents in Evo 2005, is that he touts his knowledge as a fair advantage. But when he goes up against the Japanese players who also dedicated themselves to the port without protest, he changes his tone.
I do? I don't know. They beat my ass because they're better than me. Because they play way more than me, because they have more knowledge than me, because they're better players. Those Japanese players, dude, they're hardcore. Like, a lot of American players, for us, it's a hobby. Those people live and breathe fucking Street Fighter. Those guys are so ridiculously hardcore. They have a whole culture of going to arcades and practicing and shit. You can't hang with them. It's a miracle if you beat a Japanese player at a fucking competitive fighting game. So, I don't know what I said. Maybe I shat on them. Let's see what he says here, or what I said. So now I was in the position, boom, if I win like 1 to 2 more matches, I could win the whole event. And then my final match in the tournament was against Tokido, who picked a mirror. We did a mirror match of Vega. Yep. And he knew a few things about Vega that I didn't about the mirror match. And just because he knew those few things, he got the jump on me. And I remember distinctly making 1 to 2 major blunders that people were like, why did he do that? I don't know. You know, I was on the stage. I was playing in front of 1,000 or 2 people. And I was, you know, I fucked up, I admit. He beat me. And so what ended up happening, I got 4th place. The top 3 places were all Japanese players.
DSP had ranked 4 at Evo 2005 for Street Fighter II Turbo, and used these statistics to state that he was the top American player. The more he would promote this, the more he'll be scrutinized for the details around his victory. What's more, the details about his life outside of the fighting game community were less savory.
I had to leave that other job, and as I told you, to go to Evo 2005, I had racked up my credit card bills like sky high. I owed a ton of credit card debt.
With more debt accrued, Phil moved back in with his parents and was working a job at Best Buy. Here, he was living off the high of his new title. Perhaps unrecognized and unvaluable to the population at large, that was not the case for his local competitive environment that were in awe of Phil's achievement.
One day, my friend Tony, who mostly we were known for playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Capcom vs. SNK 2 together, said, hey, I got a couple buddies who actually like Super Turbo, and obviously that's the game you're really good at. You want to go play with them? And this is the first time I ever met John Rambo. So this is probably between like 2005, 2006, I would guess. All right, so this is going to transition probably into me knowing Rambo and leading to being YouTuber and all of that. Is that it for FGC stuff? I'm surprised, but hey, he actually didn't go as heavily into it as I thought he would. I thought that he would cover a lot more, but it sounds like at this point, that's the end of it. So to give you like a butt end of this, basically after, oh wait, he might keep going. Okay, let's keep going. He does keep going. Never mind. My fault. I jumped the gun. There's a lot more. Let's keep going. I felt like it was sorry about that. Deer in headlights moment. Like, oh my God, this is a guy who just came back from Evo and placed.
John Rambo, coincidentally sharing the name of the action movie character, was becoming DSP's best friend. They shared an expansive list of friends as DSP continued to be revered in his local competitive environment. He was even allowed back on SRK and was helping run regional competitions. As now patterned, his investments into the fighting game community continued to hurt his finances. He was even fired from his job at Best Buy for using an employee discount to purchase equipment that would be used at East Coast Championships 2006. Now on unemployment, DSP's financial decisions became ever more reckless.
For 2006 and 2007, I started traveling the country, playing in all what was considered qualifying tournaments for Evo, which was the big national finale. Think like there's qualifying games in any sport, and then there's the big finals, right? As I started attending all these qualifier tournaments, I was winning them.
This is true, and this is footage of his victory at Evo East 2006.
Cool. Daigo, you're fucking next. I never played Daigo. It sucks. I never got to ever play Daigo. Instead, I played Takedo in every tournament, and literally Takedo wiped the fucking floor with me in every single tournament I ever played him in, but I never got to play Daigo.
As neat as these victories were.
And that was Justin Wong who I beat right there. That was me versus Justin in the finals, Evo East 2006. And then I went on the next year to beat Seth Killian in the finals of Evo East 2007. I also entered all these different regional tournaments for Evo in 2006 and 7, and I either placed or won all of them. I did really well those years.
Traveling across the country when he already secured a high position in Evo meant that he was effectively wasting his money, as having more than one seat was pointless.
He's right. He's right. But I was trying to prove a point. Everyone had said that my 4th place victory at 2005 Evo was fake, that it was bullshit. And I said, I'm going to so disprove you guys. I'm going to go to all the qualifiers, and I'm going to show you that in every region of this country, I'm a top player in Super Turbo. And I did it. I fucking did it. In 2007, I think I went to almost every qualifier, and only one did I lose because it was on arcade, and there was no way for me to practice on arcade. I only had the console version, so I lost there. Every single one where it was played on console, I either won or placed like top 3 or 5. I was kicking everyone's fucking ass in that game. I completely proved that I was good at Super Turbo, and at this point, no one was talking shit about the quality or skill level of DSP in this game. People outright accepted that I was good. I was actually becoming well respected in the fighting game community because I stopped being an online shit talker and started putting my money where my mouth was and winning at tournaments. Wow, Phil is now seeded to be in the finals at Evo like 7 times. We need to actually take people who he beat and put them into the spots because we can't have a whole bracket that's just Phil playing.
These victories inflated his ego beyond measure and created an even more aggressive Phil.
First of all, you are fucking hypocrite. Because you have no.
Oh my God. All right. The Alphaism radio show. All right. Again, with me being a stupid online troll. No exaggeration. I will tell you about this. I like being on this show because literally not once was I ever serious on this show. Okay. I would only call into this show when I was completely fucking drunk. I admit, now I've talked about this. In my youth, I was an alcoholic. I drank a ton in my 20s, like way too much. So most of the time when this show was on, I would call in. They would always put me on. They wanted me as a guest. And I would be talking so much shit and I would be saying not complete nonsense, drunk off my ass. I only think the one time I actually called in sober was when I was driving home from Evo from the airport and I had nothing to do. So I called into the show to talk while I was driving because I was bored. Outside of that, I was always fucking drunk as shit. So I couldn't imagine what he's going to bring up here. Maybe he'll even bring up the fucking Triforce Game Master shit, which will be hilarious if he does. Let's see.
Problem shit. You have no problem talking about my shit. I'm gonna whoop your fucking ass. Oh, really? You gonna whoop my fucking ass? Oh, I want to see that shit.
DSP continued to seek out.
Oh, come on. That's it? That's all? Oh, that's a gold mine. No, that's a fucking gold mine, dude. I can't believe that's the only clip he ever put into this thing. The whole Triforce Game Master thing. Oh, man. I want to talk about it, but this documentary is already too long. Maybe another time you guys can ask me about that, all right? Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, thank you to Captain Based Pants for a $5 super chat. He says, laughing at the detractor since 05. Let's fucking go. Long live the king. Thank you very much. And then Joe Man is here tonight and re-upped his membership. I appreciate that, Joe Man. All right, guys, thank you for the support. Let's keep going.
Found a physical altercation, and in most cases, it led to nothing. Other times,
Exactly.
he miscalculated and threatened someone who could reciprocate threats, reinforced by real experience. Viscount, a veteran of the fighting game community, was lambasted by DSP. Quote, so first Phil was like,
dude, this thing was completely fake. All right, let's go ahead and see what he has to say. Just so everyone knows, this entire thing was fake. But let's go.
okay, well, you have to sign some document, because if I kill you, I don't want to be responsible. And I was like, whatever. Then, there was an actual serious negotiation over who the ref was going to be. And I think we settled on Walter from Connecticut, but I don't remember this part either. Then, there was an honest-to-God negotiation over weight, and that we were going to have to weigh in and everything. Again, I'm not making any of this up. As dumb as this sounds, this absolutely happened. So one day Phil IMs me on AIM and tries to back out. He was like, hey, so how about this? How about we pretend like we're going to fight, and then when a whole crowd is around us, we both do DX crotch chops to the crowd. It'll be such a goof.
Yes.
This really happened, and
because why? Okay, it would be one thing if it was like the first time you heard of DSP and you hear that he talks shit online. Okay, this had been going on for like 6-7 years. Like, people knew of me since 1999. At first they knew me as the shit talker and all of this. And by the way, chronologically, I don't actually know if this is correct because I think this is, now we're talking about 2006. So I don't know. I got to think about this chronologically, right? But anyway, the whole thing was fake. Never did I have a beef with Vizant. His name is Vizant. Everyone says Viscant because no one remembers to pronounce it like Vizant. That's why I say it like that. But originally his name was supposed to be Vizant, but now everyone says Viscant. I was cool with Jay. Like, there was no real beef. I think what happened is, after so many people kind of went after him online and shit, then he changed his tune. But there was never, at least from my perspective, there was never going to be a fight between me and Jay. Ever. This is the dumbest thing possible. Like, I've already been part of the FGC for 6+ years, right? Now I'm placing, I'm doing well. Why the fuck would I fight someone now? Dude, Evo 2006, I stayed with Jay at his home. He let me stay there with other players for free so we could attend Evo West. How did I have a real feud with him? This is so weird. This is bizarre that people took this seriously. It was never real.
And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? I honestly couldn't believe he was pulling this, and I was still mad about the whole thing and actually wanted to fight him. From that point on, there never really was any problem between him and I.
Here we go.
When it came to real fights, backing out was typical of Phil. But when it came to Street Fighter, he was more confident than he'd ever been.
No, there was no backing out was typical of Phil. Phil was never going to fight anyone, and everyone knew that. We knew it was online shit-talking. It was a few people who didn't get it. Everyone knew it was online shit-talking. Everyone. And by the way, I would just like to say for the record, I was not the only one who talked shit. A lot of people in the community were shit talkers. I was probably one of the biggest ones. But this documentary makes it seem like, wow, DSP was the one bad apple. No, there were lots of people who were talking shit and shit. You know, this is just, it's because he's covering me that I have to be the central point of this. And I get it. I don't fault him for that. But this was not like, oh my God, Phil's the only one. No, this was it was like locker room shit. You talk shit to your opposition. You get the hype going, and then you go and you play them in Street Fighter. There were no real fights. There never was going to be.
All right, we got the man of all hate, the one and only DSP. I call him Phil, because Phil's cool. Anyhow, Phil, how you feel about ST?
I mean, for years...
Damn, this is 2006? Look at me then. Jeez.
These same guys are on top. And yes, I'm talking about John Choi. I'm talking about Alex Valle. Playing ST, placing, okay, they're good. But to disrespect the people that got top 8 at Evolution, to make excuses because it's on console, it's ridiculous.
There you go. You heard it from DSP. Straight from DSP. DSP, thank you. Check out the shirt.
Hate this, bitch.
Hate that.
Could Phil really back up these claims, or on the other side, could Valle beat Phil?
Alex Valle, this guy right here, living legend, Street Fighter scene. First and foremost, you know what I gotta ask you? The ST beef with DSP.
I don't even consider it a beef. It's like another scrub, another day.
Yeah, you see? But it's shit talking. That's fine. Like, I like that he said that. That's how the FGC was. We would completely go back and forth and talk shit. That's not disrespect. In fact, that's like giving the rub. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, he said that about DSP. That's cool that Alex Valle said that about me, right? That's what I mean. I talk shit about him. He talks shit about me. There's no beef. We don't want to fight each other. That was how it was. It was fun to be like that.
As chance would have it, they actually did compete at Evo 2006.
Yeah, and he beat me in that one. And then I beat him the next year. I think we're 1-1 in tournament right now, actually, technically, if I remember correctly. First match, finally. Oh, on stage, Phil versus Alex Valle. I'm like, oh, great. It was a decent match. I lost. And I was like, motherfucker, you know, all this practice. I waited all day. Basically, it mind-fucked me waiting all day to play my match. I finally play Alex Valle, and I lose.
Phil, now in the loser's bracket, still had a chance to redeem himself. And after
Tokido!
working his way through...
Fucking Tokido. Tokido, you son of a bitch. All right. Before I die, I demand publicly a rematch with Tokido in Super Turbo. Before I die, I want to have a match with that man. Because he always beat me. And I demand one more match against Tokido. I don't know how it happens. I don't know if it's online at a tournament. I don't give a fuck. I am facing Tokido, and I will defeat Tokido in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo before I die. You understand me? Fucking Tokido, I'm coming for you!
Through the loser's bracket, he had his final match of the day.
My final match is against, guess who? Tokido. Now, this is the guy who beat me in 2005 on stage mirror match with Vega.
The results of Tokido and DSP's first two matches played out exactly like they did in Evo 2005.
Yep.
Both players won a single match, and it came down to the last match.
It comes down to it's fucking nail-biting, sweating. Everyone's watching this match saying, oh my God, this fucking match is so good. And
where the results were also mirrored.
And he won. He knocked me down, and I fucking lost. And I was like, I wanted to rip my fucking shirt off like Hulk Hogan and be like, fuck this shit.
DSP did not even place in the top 8. He was now the former top American player, but if anything, he was still persistent. In 2007, he went at it again, also winning Evo East.
Yep, there we go. I won Evo East against Seth Killian. Seth Killian, so we're not talking against Justin Wong, the new blood at the time. Seth Killian is an OG, meaning he was a top Super Turbo player in the 1990s. So for me to actually be a top-ranked, former tournament-winning champion at Evo East was big shit. People were like, whoa, he actually beat a fucking OG? That's serious business.
Even though, with his victory, DSP qualified to be seated higher at EVO, he still attended EVO West, which was held at Comic-Con.
Yep. And here's the thing. I lost at Comic-Con, and it was a combination of factors, but I did make excuses later, and if I ever said it publicly, I will apologize now. I did not throw this match against David Serlin. I played incredibly poorly. Later on, I made excuses. I was like, oh, I threw the match. I didn't feel like playing anymore. You really think I flew out to California to lose? No, I fucked up. I played this match poorly and he beat me, and then I made excuses about it later, but he did beat me legit. So I will apologize for that, because I know that I've said that in the past.
Honda, come back. Only down for Japan. David Serlin, one match. DSP, one match.
There was an Evo West in San Diego, and fucking DSP was fucking talking shit about Mike Watson, and that's my road dog. When we
So what he's talking about, I literally have no recollection, but let's see what their story is, and I'll tell you my side, okay?
We fucking ran him down in Evo West. You know, we didn't even fucking wait to get outside. Watson just fucking went up to him in the arcade hall and just told him, dude, why the fuck you talking shit?
He did? No, I don't think so. I don't think that happened. I think that was in a parking lot, actually.
This and that, blah, blah, blah. And he just didn't even want to face us. Like, he just kept on, like, cowering away and looking away and just being fucking quiet, this and that. And just fucking scared shitless. And we're fucking following him around, dude. Like, what the fuck's your problem? And, you know, Watson is a forgiving guy. So he just fucking pretty much got to the point where he made him apologize.
That's not what happened whatsoever. You want to know the full story? I'll tell you the full story. I've already told the full story, but I'll tell it again. Okay? At this time, again, you know, 2005, 6, 7, I was an alcoholic. And it was my pastime to get ripping drunk at night and go online and act like an asshole. Frequently, it was like either posting on SRK forums, or it was going to the chat. There used to be MIRC chat rooms back then. And you could go into like the SRK room. You could go into this room. These different rooms, you could talk to people, okay? And basically, I would always talk shit and whatever. So I just distinctly remember this. That one day or whatever, I got a bunch of DMs, okay? And the DMs were like, dude, you are totally in trouble. And I was like, what? He was like, do you have any idea what happened last night? I was like, no. They were like, we could tell you were drunk. And you went and you got into a big argument with Mike Watson in the MIRC chat. And everyone just sat back with popcorn eating while you guys were going at it. And it was just like personal insult after personal insult after personal insult. All right? And I was like, seriously? Like, I do not remember this whatsoever. This happening. I don't recall. I must have been so drunk. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't do it, but I don't recall this at all. So basically, the word on the street was that Mike Watson wanted to beat my ass. And he actually publicly threatened me a couple times in chat again. And every time I was like, dude, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to fight at Evo. That's going to ruin everything for everyone. You know that. And I really have no recollection what you're talking about. So basically, I just like blocked it out. I didn't address it. I didn't talk to the guy or anything. Okay, I just ignored the whole thing. I went to Evo West. And after a bunch of matches at one day, I don't even remember what day it was. It was before these finals, okay? I was walking back to the parking lot with Vizant, Jay Snyder, okay? We were together, Viscant. And he would, because remember, I was staying with him. So he was going to drive me back to his place. Now, I don't know if this was a setup or not. Sometimes I do suspect that maybe it was a setup and they were in cahoots with him or something. But all of a sudden, already like in the parking lot or right there coming around the corner was Mike Watson and Jaha, okay? Now, I don't understand why Jaha had to be involved. This had nothing to do with him. This was between me and Mike Watson, but Jaha was involved, okay? So Mike Watson gets in my face, and he's basically saying, why did you talk all this shit online, and why did you do this? And I'm like, dude, like, literally, I'm like, I actually have no idea what you're talking about. I really don't. And when he really got in my face, and he goes, well, I don't understand. How could you not know? I said, I admitted to him right there. I said, dude, I'm an alcoholic. Every night I drink and I just go online and I act like an asshole. So I actually have no clue what you're talking about. I apologize if I said something personal that really pissed you off. And then it was basically like Jaha was getting in my face and he was like, well, I'm going to fuck you up anyway. And I said, no. I said, if you're going to do it, go ahead. And I put my hands behind my back just like this. And I said, if you want to fuck me up, go for it. You have the right, I guess, because I don't know what I even said, right? I really have no clue. So go ahead and beat my ass. I'm not going to defend myself. Go ahead and beat me up. And I just stood there like this. And basically the two of them were like shocked that I did this because they thought I was going to try to fight them or something, right? And then after that, they were like, well, don't fucking ever do that again and blah, blah, blah. And I said, all right, whatever. I don't know. You know, again, I'm sorry. I really have no clue what I've done. And that was it. And in fact, I saw them the next day at the tournament. In fact, here's the story because I don't know if he's going to play this part. The next day at the tournament, guess who I had to play in Super Turbo at Evo West? Mike Watson. Guess who won? Dark Side Phil. The day after he got into my face at a parking lot and threatened to beat my ass, I beat him in a fucking Super Turbo tournament. If you're going to say that I'm not good at Super Turbo, why don't you try doing that? See who someone who's physically threatening to stomp your ass, you play him the next day. Was I biting my fingernails, shaking in my shoes? I fucking beat him. DJ versus fucking Balrog. Outright, you know, and he was ripping pissed, but Mike Watson is a respectable guy, and he knew it was a fair match, and I beat him, and that was it. He walked away, and that was the end of it. And in fact, I even joked with Jaha that day, because he was playing Third Strike, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and he was playing, and I just happened to walk up, and I was watching some of the match, and he turned around, and he looked at me, he goes, you spy, you die. And everyone laughed, me too. It was hilarious. It was a great line. I was like, dude, this is funny. And that was like, I was actually okay with them. Like, we had no beef. I went to Evo World, like the Evo finals in Vegas that year. We had no beef. In fact, it was a big money match. It was Duck Doe versus Sanford Kelly. Duck Doe was like the best Marvel 2 player from the West Coast. Sanford was the best Marvel 2 player from the East Coast at the time. And I backed Duck Doe in a big money match. I was actually on the West Coast side backing Duck Doe. There was no other bad feelings after that. Basically, because of that confrontation, we completely squashed the beef and there was no problems ever again. So what's funny about this is Jaha talking about this so many years later, and he's portraying it as something that completely is false. But again, this is the guy who interjects himself into all these situations. I don't know why. I really have no clue what he had to do with this situation. If it was just Mike Watson and me, that I totally would have understood. I don't know why he was there, why he was getting in my face. And I thought we were cool. Seemed like we were after that. So why is he on the internet years later in an interview with my detractor saying shit like this? It's not even true. It's literally not the truth of the story. But whatever. Let's continue. I said, you got to do what you got to do. If you feel like you're going to make you feel better to hit me, then go ahead. I guess I deserve it. There you go. And he's like, well, I don't understand then. Why did you say those things? And I was like, dude, I'm an alcoholic. I admitted it to him right there. I was like, I'm an alcoholic. I drink too much all the time, and I just can't control myself when I do it. And at that point, I actually started crying because I felt so bad about everything that I had done and how stupid I was as a person.
Rumor of what took place at this event would spread within the fighting game community.
And of course, it was all bullshit. They all made stuff up about what really happened, and it wasn't the truth of it at all. They all just made their own fucking bullshit up about it, you know?
You guys remember the whole thing with DSP and like with the West Coast people where they almost like he was like really scared because he was about to get beat up? I heard he was like crying and everything, so that was pretty funny.
Why are you so here's the truth of the matter. Sorry, because I got distracted here. Here's the truth of the matter. Why are you joking? If you knew the real story, that the reason that I was crying is because I was embarrassed because I was an alcoholic and I couldn't control myself, and I was apparently doing things I couldn't even remember. I mean, that's blackout drunk, that you don't remember what you did when you're drunk. And that's why I was crying, because I was so upset with myself that, that's not something to laugh at. That's not something to make fun of. That's a serious issue. Oh, ha ha ha. Phil cried. Do you even know what happened? Were you there? If you weren't, then shut the fuck up. No one needs to hear your dumb, uninformed fucking opinion, Justin. Ha ha ha. So funny. DSP cried. Oh, I'm sure I could find shit about anyone in the FGC and I could laugh at you too. But at this point, this was an interview done with Justin. Again, I wasn't part of the FGC. I was actually becoming a popular YouTuber, and the whole FGC turned against me and wanted to fucking shit on me because I was popular on YouTube and they were nowhere near as popular on YouTube. So everyone wants to drop my name and talk shit about me. You remember when he cried? Remember that? How did you know? You weren't there. There's no video footage of it. No one spoke of it. How the fuck would you possibly know? You don't know shit. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, keep your fucking mouth shut. Because then years later, I'll talk about it during my documentary. All people will see my react, and you look like a jackass. So Justin, guess what? You owe me a fucking apology. You really do. Now, I've talked shit about you in your game and shit like that. I didn't make any personal attacks against you. This is a pretty fucked up personal attack, and I think you should apologize to me. I don't think you will, but I do think you owe me an apology. Anyway, let's continue.
DSP had fulfilled his role as a heel by losing to players who were far more popular than he was. He again, for Evo Actual, did not even place in the top 8.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened in two. Oh, wait, I do remember. I could tell you, first round. Well, it's a whole conspiracy theory thing. I don't really know if we should go into it for this documentary. But essentially, the people who run Evo didn't like me because I was the internet shit talker. They always hated me. And they would always put me into bad brackets. Like, for example, at Evo 2005, where I was supposed to just lose right away, they put me into what was called the black bracket of death against all the top players. And I beat every single one of them and got 4th place. Okay? Then at Evo 2007, the word on the street was basically that Phil has been practicing with these 2 West Coast players. So they literally put me against one of the guys I'd been practicing with nonstop first fucking round because they knew that they would know how to play against me. They were trying to eliminate me from the tournament. It was done on purpose. But they'll say it wasn't. They'll say, oh, no, but, you know, it never happened. But, you know, this literally happened every fucking tournament I attended that those guys were running. There would be bracket shenanigans where somehow I just happened to be having the toughest fucking matches in the toughest time. But, you know, oh, no, it's totally coincidence for the 10th time in a row, DSP. Don't worry about that, right? Whatever. So, yeah, this guy who I've been training with beat me first round in Evo 2007. I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember who else I lost to in the tournament. It just didn't matter to me anymore. So yeah, I didn't even get close to placing in that one.
Even if he won such events, the prize money would do little to counter the credit card debt that he had accrued. His new job was not doing much to help him either.
Then I ended up finally getting a job after the Best Buy debacle at a place called Helicopter Support Incorporated. This was also in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Actually, I take that back. I think Helicopter Support was just over the Trumbull line.
This is a strange leap from working at Best Buy to working as medium in helicopter parts selection. His degree that he had recently gotten was supposedly in business. So DSP's work experience, nor his educational background, was related to his current position. The only thing that was his father, who had been working at the company, and it is understood that DSP secured his position due to nepotism.
Wrong. Completely wrong. And there's no evidence to that whatsoever. No one will ever have evidence of that. My business degree got me a job right out of college at a lender. It was called Wells Fargo Financial, and I worked there for a year. And after working there for a year, I was incredibly unhappy. I felt like I was being mistreated. I also found out that they were a predatory lender. So after working there for a year, I quit because I didn't want to work there anymore. But then I had to hurriedly find another job, and that's when I jumped into the Best Buy position, okay? All along the time when I was working at Best Buy, I always wanted to get another job. I never suspected that I was going to work at Best Buy forever. And basically, when I worked at Best Buy, it was not a line-level employee. I was on the business team selling servers, projectors, high-end computers to business owners. So I was getting paid more than everyone in the store except the management. I was getting paid more than all the other employees in the store. I was considered one level below management. So when I applied at this job, yes, I'm not going to lie. My dad said, you should apply at Helicopter Support. In fact, he said that before I even worked at Best Buy. He said I should apply at Helicopter Support. He's trying to nudge me there because he was working there, okay? When I went and I applied, my history is essentially I worked at a lender that I wasn't comfortable with for a year, but that's business background. I worked at Best Buy on a business team selling business level equipment. That's interaction with people. So when I interviewed at this job, it was for customer support, interacting with big companies flying helicopters and shit. They saw that I had all this financial background, in-person experience with people, and that's why they wanted me for the job. I interviewed with 3 different people for 3 completely different departments. It was 2 different divisions of customer service, and I believe 1 was materials. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 for customer service and 1 for another department. After the 3 interviews, literally all 3 managers wanted to hire me. And they competed inside the company to decide who would get me because they liked me so much from the interview. All right? You can argue maybe nepotism is that my dad worked there and he pushed me to take the interviews. But dude, I didn't get hired off of nepotism when I interviewed with 3 completely different people and all 3 people wanted me. That's ridiculous, okay? He's taking this off of previous documentaries and what my detractors have said. They all just guessed and said, oh, nepotism. There's no way that DSP could possibly have gotten the job. At this point in my life, I'm not kidding you, I literally got every job I ever applied for. Circuit City, the Wells Fargo job, the Best Buy job, this helicopter job. 4 jobs in a row I applied for, and 4 I got right in a row. So, baloney. There's no nepotism. There will never be any evidence of nepotism because it didn't happen.
There was an additional development that DSP would long cling to. He was now starting a perilous path, ones that machinations would be far more complex than he could ever predict or even understand.
Is that supposed to be like me in a chair, leaning back, looking at a screen, like an evil villain? That's great. Dude, I love this shot. No, I need to take this shot, and I need to do something with it. This shot is epic. Look at this. Dude, I love this. Evil villain Phil leaning back in his chair, looking at his YouTube empire that he has created. This is excellent. I love this. That's a good one.
Yet he stood directly in the center to witness it all.
So, by the way, shout out to Raze, who did a $1 super chat, Popular Music, who became a member, and Yeet Mania, who became a member. Guys, if you're enjoying tonight's stream, please consider supporting it. I'm going to be going for at least another half an hour, maybe a little further than that, but then we're going to call it quits for tonight, all right? But thank you for supporting. Let's keep going.
Basically, I was very nervous. We went to this Chinese restaurant, and I swear to you, the first fortune that I got, well, my fortune that I got that they said, financial hardship in your life is coming to an end. By the way, when I do record gameplay, I use a digital camera.
So what, you're not going to edit this video? You're just going to post them as is with a 10-minute mark?
Why would I edit?
It took 2 days, actually, off of work just to play Batman Arkham Asylum. Because I knew it was going to be great, and you know what? I don't regret it at all. Even though
I'm the fucking Batman!
The Dark Side Phil YouTube channel was created on March 3rd, 2007, but was not utilized until 2008. Phil began
I did use it in 2007, but oh, he's going to say it. Never mind.
by recording some of the fighting game events he would enter. The earliest available video is Midwest Moment for Day 1 setup. The next one is Moment 7, then 13, then 19. Though all these videos range from 13 seconds to 2 minutes and 16 seconds, the jumping of the numerical order means that several videos were deleted and various pre-existing videos are lost.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That's actually a great question. I have no clue. I might have to look into that to see if all the videos are there or not, and if they were somehow removed by YouTube, or if I just randomly titled them. I have absolutely no idea. I don't have no recollection.
This was not the only event he recorded in 2008, and alongside those videos, DSP began recording gameplay of various
Here it is.
genres.
Here's the first gameplay.
The quality as such reflected the best his equipment would allow, as he positioned his camera initially on the floor and pointed it towards his television. DSP recorded Star Wars The Force Unleashed,
At least I got all this fucking high-definition ear detail.
Castle Crashers,
It's a bunch of fucking horseshit, to be honest.
and Mercenaries 2.
Another Grand Theft Auto 4 rip-off mission.
While the genres varied, the style of recording, the commentary, and the titling, in that he proclaimed the game sucked, provided some theming in a space that lacked cohesion. YouTube, as it was looked at as a video repository, a place to consume viral videos. Series and the like were virtually non-existent. There was no meta for videos and not much of a reason to make them, considering that a paycheck through content creation was unheard of.
True.
In such an uncompetitive and themeless space, Phil's videos excelled. He quickly found out that his gameplay videos did better than his recordings of fighting game events. Then found out that if he recorded proper sequences of walkthroughs, missions, and games, the chain of videos garnered even more views, as was demonstrated by his gameplay of Saints Row 2. These were uploaded out of sequence, as Phil relied on a unique method of recording. Instead of recording the entirety of his gameplay in one go that would create a single video file to chop into several parts, Phil subverted the need to edit his videos down below the required 10-minute mark that YouTube had by physically stopping the recording on his camera every couple minutes.
And it was a pain in the fucking ass to do it, but it got the job done, and I was able to pump out an insane amount of videos all at once because I did it that way.
Oh my god, this is bullshit. Ugh. Okay, Saints Row 2. Trying to kill the general again.
This naturally created individual files that not only saved him time on the editing process, but the rendering as well. From here, he could upload the files directly. The only additional effort applied left was to name the videos. Though Phil, in late 2008, did commit himself to recording entire playthroughs of games full with his commentary, the sequence was still scrambled and parts were uploaded out of order. But by the time he began his Fallout 3 series, now adopting his role of what would be known as a Let's Player, he was finally correcting these errors and uploading a sequence.
And I hated being called a Let's Player. I didn't like being tagged into a certain group because I felt like what I was doing was a lot different from other Let's Players. A lot of Let's Players at the time were like doing like walkthroughs because they already knew the game, so they were explaining how to play it or whatever, or they would do no commentary at all. I felt like I was doing improv commentary while I did like a cold play, so I called it a playthrough. And at that time, I swear to you, I didn't see anyone else using that terminology, but a lot of people claim other people used it before me, but now it's like a common word that everybody uses.
Then the issue was not the sequence, but how much he was uploading. If he did a 4-hour recording session, that amounted to 25 videos, and those 25 videos were uploaded from November 28th to November 29th. That was 25 uploads in just 2 days. Phil, with some fluctuation, was spamming his uploads. By December 19th, even with his job in mind, he was up to part 137 of the Fallout Let's Play series. That was only a fraction of his 749 videos. This means Phil, at 1,400 subscribers, averaged around 2 subscribers per video. The comments were quite vocal with their exhaustion of the spam. Quote, "Stop spamming videos, they are not that good." Unquote. Some comments seem to just target Phil as a person. Quote, "Fucking you. You are a stupid man. Suck my lick." Unquote. Phil's commentary was,
"Suck my lick!" Dude, we gotta bring that one back. Suck my lick. That's a good one. Spencer, thanks for his super chat. He says, "How many dollars for a longer stream?" Like I said, I'll go a bit more. Maybe another, just about an hour, but I can't be here late. We're going to do this all week. That's the whole idea, is that we're here every night, all week reacting to this, okay? There's no reason to push it or go crazy here. Suck my lick!
Colorful and could prompt these responses.
Oh, look. Blah, blah, blah. You cannot speak the English, you stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Slurs words to Chinese people.
Viewers were not sure if DSP's crudeness was him playing a character, though the Street Fighter community knew it wasn't.
DSP, stop recording. No one gives a shit. Play. You can't hold up a tournament.
This has absolutely nothing to do with me playing a character at all. This is completely unrelated. Let's see if he explains this or not. If not, there's no point in wasting time on this. It's just stupid.
Where am I playing? You still haven't told me. Jesus Christ, man. Want me to run the fucking tournament for you?
Taking form now in early 2009 was the basis of DSP. All the core elements.
So he didn't even explain the context of the clip. That clip's completely out of context. Has nothing to do with anything, really. It's the worst tournament I ever attended. Literally in my life. It was insanely poorly run. They were mistreating a lot of players wrong. At the end of the tournament, a bunch of players, including me, confronted the organizers saying, "This is the worst ever and you owe us all refunds," to which they paid us back our money. So, I mean, we could talk about that as long as you want, but that was completely out of context, that clip. I think he was forced to kind of squeeze that in because all my detractors love that clip because it's DSP acting like an asshole, right? Great. Anyway, let's continue.
Elements were finally present, including the audience. From those few who were vocal about their dislike of DSP, DSP responded by comparing himself to Satan, and those who enjoyed his videos enough to donate to him. As seen in his description, he was now accepting PayPal donations for what he claims were games and equipment. Even now, in the channel comments, people were suggesting...
Keep in mind that at this time, so this is what, 2009, there is absolutely no way to monetize gameplay clips on YouTube at all. You can make no money on gameplay. And I was growing in views and popularity, and people wanted more from me. I was like, well, that's great, but dude, I just got a normal job. I can't be dropping hundreds of dollars a week on a bunch of new games and stuff. If you help me with some PayPal tips here and there, I can afford it. And people did. It wasn't a ton. Maybe I would make like $100, $200 a month on PayPal tips back then, just to buy a few games, which was very nice. But it was a hobby. There was no money to be made. No one was paying me to make gameplay. And that went on that Dark Side Phil channel for 2.5 years. I never made any money on it.
Testing the use of direct capture via what is known as a capture card. And DSP did indeed spend that money. A lot of it too, on a more expensive, yet worse option.
As you know, any donations that you send help me in the cost of games and equipment, especially this brand new HD camera. It cost me a pretty hefty sum, so.
As these suggestions to how he could improve his videos poured in, Phil would go on and pour them out.
This guy just wants to be my friend so he gets deleted. Why don't you?
Friend request ridicule. I recommend if you want to have a great fucking laugh, go watch my friend request ridicule series from back in the day. Again, it's not monetized, so you can just check it out and laugh. It's me purposefully razzing people sending me friend messages. And look at the views on the video. 176,000 views for this. It's like epic history of me doing it. I did it many different times. To this day, people like it, but you have to understand the joke. Like, I was doing it on purpose, over-the-top reactions, really insulting things to the people who were sending me these friend requests. It wasn't real. It wasn't, oh, I'm actually trying to be an asshole to these people. It was just me purposefully over-the-top being like that. Actually, eventually, I retired the series because my viewers actually said, we want to actually talk to you for real. Like, we understand this series is funny, but we actually want to have conversations with you. We want you to answer questions, have like a social interaction. So I canceled this whole series and started a show called Ask the King, where I would just take in questions from like my forums and answer them without any insulting answers. So eventually I realized it was kind of mean-spirited. It was a joke, but yeah, people really want to hang out and talk with me, so I'll do a real series and I canceled this one.
Use capture
But this is funny as fuck.
card instead of camera. I've already explained this 7,000 fucking times. It's because then I'd have to actually use a professional microphone. I'd have to record the voiceovers. I'd have to actually do video editing on every fucking video that I put up. Considering I put up like 30 a fucking day, unless you want to fucking stay home and do that while I'm at work, I don't think that's going to happen. So shut
your
fucking
Shut the
face.
fuck up. So basically, the only people who really cared about my quality at this point in 2009 were people who were like, well, other people, your contemporaries, are doing direct capture. I'm like, my contemporaries don't put out 30 videos in a day. They sit there editing. They put out one video a day that's like, 10 minutes. I'm putting out 3 hours of footage a day. So would you rather have 3 hours of a hot new game or one video of a hot new game that has good visuals and audio? And everyone said, put out more videos. We want to see you get through the games and cover them. And that's what my thing was. I was known as the guy who bought the new games, played them right away, beat them within a week, and immediately could review the game and go to the next game. I was a very proficient, prolific content creator in that way. Everyone else cared about their production quality, but wasn't putting out enough content, right? I was putting out endless amounts of content, and people liked that. That's how I ended up blowing up at the start.
That, as would be understood, was DSP's long-winded way of saying it was because he did not want to put forth the effort to learn the technology.
Wrong. That is wrong. It's because I wanted to put out more content. People found it more entertaining for me to play more games than for me to sit there and edit all day. I didn't think it was going to be fun to sit there and edit. Rather, people wanted to see me enjoy myself and play more games. So that's why I did it that way. If people had outright said, we're not going to watch your content unless you edit, then I would have edited. But people preferred me to pump out more. So that actually is incorrect.
Making it seem overcomplex to an audience that knew very little about video creation. From here on, he would label his videos as HD, inherent from the camera and not the game, as people would be actually searching for. It is difficult to say how much DSP was making from these donations, but he was earning something and realized he could be making even more. Not from gameplay, as YouTube was afraid to monetize such content in fear that the copyright strikes from the game companies would doom the platform, but from vlogs, as YouTube recognized it was all original footage. This new channel, once more promoting his new camera's abilities, going as the King of Hate HD, shined a light on DSP's previously private life. There were videos of him making custom controllers with John Rambo and friends, sometimes videos of DSP and friends at a cookout, and sometimes the different competitions he would attend and not perform well in. It was clear that DSP had a vibrant social life. DSP was attending midnight releases, freely interacting with strangers, and now, because his vlogging channel was successfully accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, where he pressed what he assumed to be the advantage.
Hello. Guys, if you are enjoying tonight's stream, please give it a like. I know that we have over 1,000 people on stream and 300 likes. Let's get that up. Please click like. It helps this channel a lot for engagement. It'll help more people to find my reacts over the course of the week. And of course, if you're having a good time, please support the stream. I did demonetize the stream for you all tonight, so there wouldn't be hindrance of ads. It would be great if I could get some support by the end of the stream. I'm going to go about another half hour or so. We'll see. Okay?
What's going on? My name is Phil Brunell, but more commonly known as Darkside Phil, or DSP for short on the internet. And in 2010, my channel actually ended up being in the top 30 most viewed comedians of all time on YouTube. And actually had over 100 million total channel views. At this point, I started getting noticed by different companies, such as Machinima and other people contacting me. And at that point, I really wasn't too interested in doing anything with it. I wasn't really sure, you know, that it would ever translate into anything serious for me, or any kind of a monetary gain for me.
Is that my face reveal video? I thought in my face reveal video I was wearing the Blues shirt. The Chicago Blues shirt. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know if that's that. Yeah, maybe I am misremembering. I don't know. I'm sure you guys will look into it now. Thank you, Disgoy Knows, for 5 gifted memberships to the community. I appreciate that.
Combined with the money from his traditional job, he moved out of his parents' house into his own condo that he purchased for $131,000, leaving him to be a host for such events such as a pizza/gameplay party.
Yep. Yeah. What better to eat right before a Ninja Turtles playthrough than a delicious, ginormous pizza?
Yummy.
So why don't you stop playing Street Fighter 4 and come get pizza so we can play Turtles? John Rambo here, devouring his final slice.
Hell bugger, you fuckers.
As controversial as Phil had become in the real world, and was well on the way in the online space, he was leading a fuller life. He was even experimenting with edited videos, like his multi-part Game Awards series.
It's DSP's Game of the Year Awards 2009 Top 10 Best Games of the Year.
Dude, I sound so congested. I was sick as a dog making those, and I still made them anyway. I was so sick. My nose was fully congested. I'm like trying to do voiceovers and shit. I sound terrible.
Not everything operated well in DSP's life. He was still heavily drinking even during Let's Plays.
Yes.
Follow me, Red. Don't attack those fucking rad scorpions. Just follow me.
If you're interested in seeing me piss drunk and do a playthrough, head over to my DSP Throwback channel. I remastered my Fallout 3 playthrough, and I am so drunk in half of it. I'm lost in the sewers and shit. It's absolutely hilarious. I kill a whole town of NPCs drunk as shit, but I remastered it, so now the visual quality is better and the audio is better. You can see that over on DSP Throwback. I did that earlier this year.
What? Red has died. She didn't even get fucking hit. Now she's dead. What the fuck?
As was normal, DSP fumbled through gameplay, regularly blaming the game for his shortcomings. Alcohol only amplified this.
We may not look it, but every one of us is a trained... They both come in here.
Alright, I'm just going to say this. For me being completely drunk as shit, I put out a lot of content that actually wasn't so bad. Like, look at this video. It's gameplay, there's commentary. I mean, yeah, I'm drunk as shit, but look, I'm putting it out consistently. That's a camera pointed at a TV, and it's actually framed pretty goddamn good. Like, damn, I got good at this for being drunk and putting out content. I was pretty good, right? You know, another person trying to make being drunk and do the fucking gameplay, they're fucking falling over and shit.
A viewer may have missed it as Phil did through his rapid selection of the dialogue for the sake of progression. Phil unwittingly chose the option to threaten the NPC.
Yeah, by accident. Oops.
Why the fuck are they attacking me?
I'm so
I
drunk.
don't get it. Why are they attacking me?
I feel like I'm barely conscious.
I didn't want to kill them. Why did they attack me?
There was a grotesque nature to Phil's Let's Plays and a rage that would turn physical.
My Xbox locked up.
That's what the Butthead DSP Smash is. It's me doing a controller smash montage. Oh, okay. Because I saw this in the timestamps of the documentary earlier on. I was like, I have no idea what this is. It's just a montage. Okay.
Fucking does. Fuck, they're doing it.
Standing fucking roundhouse.
Wow.
Shit fucking.
Fucking doesn't
kidding me.
Fuck this stupid fucking mission. I'm fucking cooking fucking balls.
A part of a successful creator.
I mean, people loved it when I acted like that. There was many times when I would completely overact on purpose to get a good reaction out of my audience. They loved to see the rage of Darkside Phil. To some extent, it was real, but sometimes I would ham it up. So when you ask the question, is Phil a character or not, it's probably part true and part fake. You know, it depends on the situation. And if I knew that I would elicit that kind of positive response from the audience because they wanted to laugh at me being angry, right? But it wasn't that often. The controller slams didn't actually happen that often. In fact, and just listen to this. In the 16 years that I've been doing YouTube, I've only broken one controller. I was playing an old-ass God of War game, and I slammed it on my coffee table in my condo in Connecticut, and it actually broke. That was the one time ever. Every other time, it wasn't a common occurrence, but every once in a while, you know, my people would do those montages and act like I do it all the time when I actually didn't. I received a $2.25 tip from Mr. Puffy Nipples. Actually, you started DSP Inbox before Ask the King. So I did a DSP Inbox series, then I renamed it to Ask the King. Thanks for the correction there.
His willingness to experiment, adapt, and improve. DSP had those elements, except he was so set in his immediate success, he disregarded improvement to increase what worked in excess.
Correct. He's absolutely correct in that statement. At this point, now I don't know if I'm with Machinima yet, but basically the way I saw it was, listen, people are watching my videos. I'm getting more subscribers, more viewers. I'm on a big upward trend on YouTube. People are saying DSP is one of the funniest gaming YouTubers there are. Why would I change my formula? If what I'm doing is working, why would I then say, oh, I need to change and go direct capture and do all this editing and put out less content? The amount of content I'm putting out is working. It's getting me noticed. It's giving me the views I need to get to the top of the YouTube ladder for gaming. So let's just keep doing what I'm doing, right? Joon is correct here. This is a running pattern you will see over the course of this documentary. I fail to adapt. I fail to recognize new trends. I fail to change for the better. And I just keep doing what I'm doing, and it stops working. But then I just keep doing what I'm doing. It's called being stubborn.
By early 2010, his Let's Plays and number of total videos soared. In just a little over a year, he had nearly 7,000 uploads on his main channel, with his total views at a gargantuan 70 million. That means he was averaging 10,000 views a video. And not in the least humble about these statistics. Quote, I've been called fat, ignorant, stupid, scrub, loud, obnoxious, disrespectful, belligerent, inciting troll, asshole, worthless. But I've also been called entertaining by 70 million people. You be the judge. I'll be banned by the time you read this. This could be found on SRK, and if even possible, further soured Phil's image in the rest of the Street Fighter community.
Look at him now. I mean, he's just... 20,000 idiots are subscribed to him. That's great. Congratulations. Congratulations with your YouTube channel, and hope you enjoy your life, bro. I mean, it's a great victory. PlayStation 1 Super Turbo Champion. You take that to your grave, bro. Good luck.
Yeah, and the hilarious part again, I'd already beaten him in tournaments after this, or after that, but this is him seething that I'm popular on YouTube and the FGC is not. Like I said, this interview was around 2010, and the FGC hated me because they saw that I was becoming popular while they were stagnant. I was being popular. They were trying to make videos on Street Fighter 4. They were trying to get stuff going, but Darkside Phil was the talk of the town, and they were not. So they were all very, very jealous. And I will say this, because I know that Joon won't say this. After this interview happened in 2010, I got wind of it, and I talked about it publicly, and I said, you know, I don't know why Mike would have said that, because I thought we were cool. I thought we squashed our beef in 2007. I have no clue why he would have said that, and I really don't have anything to say about it, really. Besides, maybe he's jealous. I don't know. And that was it. I left it at that. He wrote me a DM on YouTube, and I wish I could show this to you, but DMs on YouTube don't exist anymore. They erased them all. And he wrote me this DM on YouTube and apologized. He said, I'm actually sorry. I got caught up in the moment with this whole hype going on at this tournament. They asked me about you, and I said, you know, I'm gonna ham it up for the crowd. And I did that. And then he said, but I want you to know we have no beef. I'm sorry I did that. I apologize. And that was really nice of Mike to do that, because at the time in the space, you know, I'm a emerging creator. I'm getting popular on YouTube. And to see that someone from the old days of the FGC is crapping on me, that's like a notable player, is kind of messed up. And the fact that he apologized, he didn't have to do that. He never had to, and that was nice of him, and I respect him for doing that, because, again, to go out of your way. I just can't prove it, because the DMs have been deleted. And, in fact, I remember years later I had a conversation with John Rambo about it, and he said, dude, it's too bad you didn't save that to show everyone. And much like a lot of the things we're talking about today, it's like, yeah, but did anyone ever think that things would go the way they have, that I would become an internet person that everyone talks about, that there'd be documentaries about me 20 years later where we're talking about this shit? Of course not. So why would I think to save anything, right? Like, who would think to save the fucking DM from Mike Watson? Who gives a shit, right? Now, it would have been great to show it, but I don't have it anymore, and YouTube deleted it. FYI, someone tried to tip me, and YouTube froze it. So I apologize. It was a $5 tip, and I have no idea who it's from. I appreciate that, but I can't shout it out because I can't see your message. Also, Spencer, thank you for a $2 super chat there. And I'm not going to read that because you're saying things that I'm not going to say on YouTube, but I appreciate it, okay? All right.
DSP was making enemies that he had never met. In 2009, he had a small run-in with Rockstar and Take-Two that took down 2 of his videos, as was commonplace, as all of Phil's videos ran the risk of scrutiny by these companies.
However, Take-Two took it upon themselves to actually put a cease and desist order against YouTube, stating that they were not allowed to put up any of my gameplay footage, in particular because I had the cutscenes of the game in my footage.
And then, in 2010, what appeared to be Ubisoft also struck Phil's channel to a severe degree.
The Steve Jones saga begins. The Steve Jones saga. Here we go. By the way, thank you to Skonkgasm, $5 super chat. I'm a admitted detractor. I love to hate you. It's a wonderful kind of sensation. Keep it up. I don't get this kind of thing anywhere else. Wow. That's incredibly disturbing. Please seek professional help. Thank you for the super chat.
By April, the strikes continued at such a pace that his main channel, Darkside Phil, was taken down. After sharing the news, it came out that the strikes were illegitimate and were possibly sent out by a disgruntled viewer. With the strikes resolved and the channel restored, Phil saw it fit to celebrate his channel's resurrection.
Oh my god, this video!
Guess who's back, motherfuckers? That's right. That's right. They tried to take me down. They tried to get me off YouTube. They tried to shut me up. Fuck those motherfuckers. The king is back. That's right. As you can see, thank God, my channel, Darkside Phil, has been restored on YouTube. So, awesome.
This tactic would also become commonplace against Phil. As a response to the initial takedown, DSP made 2 additional channels, one for Street Fighter that was soon abandoned, and another for gaming going as DSP Gaming.
Was not soon abandoned. The Street Fighter channel lasted over a year, and there's a whole reason behind why it shut down. If he doesn't address it, there's no reason to. It had to do with my partnership with Machinima later on, but let's see if he ever brings it up or not. It's not a big deal, so.
This channel, for all intents and purposes, adopted the role of his main channel and would remain as such for the foreseeable future. At the time, as a host to gameplay videos, the channel's true purpose was to bring attention towards his vlogging channel, as that channel was monetized.
What am I going to do?
Oh no, here it comes. The Cooking with the King saga. This is so good.
Express mode, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, which include 6 pieces of white bread.
This new series, beginning in September of 2010, was going under Poorly Cooking with the King.
Yep.
These videos were much more intimate than his gaming videos or even vlogs, for reasons not known then, but are now.
Back then, I started Cooking with the King as a way to branch out and to have additional content on that channel. I think that that series ran its course to the point where I literally probably cooked every single meal I could possibly make without looking like an idiot. Or using a cookbook. And the point is, the series was me showing you things that I cook, not me cooking out of a cookbook.
Phil was increasingly monetizing different aspects of his life, and as he stated, Poorly Cooking with the King were the recipes he knew how to make, meaning...
Yeah, right. No. The whole idea, it was called... I don't know why I said that. I will say, that's a misstatement. It's called Poorly Cooking with the King. It means I'm just cooking random shit that maybe is easy to cook, because I maybe have tried it before, but it's called Poorly Cooking with the King. I was never saying this is actually how you do it. It was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be hilarious. Half the time I was drunk making those videos. Again, I'll say it. That was like middle of the night, me making food, because I've been drinking all night and I was hungry. So I would just film myself making food and fucking up and spilling shit everywhere, and people loved it.
This is what Phil made regularly.
So what am I going to make? Today I'm going to make scrambled eggs, and I'm also going to make some sausage. So I'm going to whip together...
I rarely cooked. At this point in my life, I rarely cooked at all, because I still have my office job and everything. I would eat completely unhealthy, but this wasn't what I was eating all the time.
Some burgers, the eggs, and the cheese. That's pretty much 3 basic ingredients, but you can add other things to this dish. Although in this episode, we're
See the time? 12:05? That's 12:05 a.m. I've already been drinking for several hours filming for gameplay. Now I'm going to make a meal at 12:05 a.m. Yeah.
Actually going to a little bit more healthy than some of my previous...
Oh, it was 4 a.m. for the scrambled eggs? So there you go. I was up all night drinking, recording, and at 4 a.m., I'm going to eat all this shit, and then I'm going to pass out drunk with this food in my stomach.
Recipe, simply because a lot of people have been complaining, and I guess it's time to show that I don't only eat, you know, things that might be high in fat or high in cholesterol. For every
Yeah, right.
6 ounces of
Like
tuna,
this isn't high in fat and high in cholesterol. Are you kidding me?
you should use a half a cup of mayonnaise and or Miracle Whip.
Those were the following 4 poorly cooking with the king videos. Besides Phil's poor diet that would impact his life in somewhat ironic ways, viewers were exposed to cooking mishaps that were perplexing.
Safest thing to...
Even shows this? Me pouring the grease down the toilet and destroying the pipes? He shows this? That's hilarious.
do with bacon grease.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Destroy the pipes.
Hot fucking potatoes.
Screwing his viewers could look at the clock in the stove frame, the layout of his house, etc. As for the rest of his videos, they were performing well, even if he did have a few hiccups or angry neighbors telling him to shut up along the way.
That's my drunken neighbor. He was more drunk than me. He would sit on his back porch drinking all night and then yell because there's noise coming out of my place. Like, dude, you're sitting on your back porch drunk making noise and you're telling me to stop making noise in my house, in my living room? I can make as much fucking noise as I want in my own living room, you ass.
If this was the only trouble DSP received, the rest of 2010 would have gone more smoothly. The key change that destabilized his world was him getting fired from his job.
And what happened in this case, they did a reorg where they took me out of this department where I was doing all this great work and they put me in a completely different department. The management there didn't give a fuck about me, and after 3 months they laid me off.
Now, with more incentive to monetize his life, Phil launched a new series known as DSP Tries It.
Because fast food, I'm going to be telling you right now, when I do these for fast food, they're always going to have a low rating because fast food usually is pretty bad. It's an odd combination of flavors because the egg and all the meat are extremely salty.
This series was initially food-based. Then he began reviewing his own merchandise.
There's a bunch of different designs that you can get.
Then joysticks.
This joystick uses all Sanwa parts.
This series had now evolved within the first 21 episodes to a general product review show.
DSP tries it.
This is DSP, and I'm using the new Axe body...
Yes.
How's that shit? I'm using the new Axe body detailer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Drop the balls.
For a period, DSP discontinued this series and later stopped posting on the King of Hate HD altogether. DSP's fans were aware that he lost his job, and so a fan contacted Phil and offered to make him his own website, as was customary for various creators that found themselves unsecure in YouTube survivability.
All right, so we're entering this arc. We've got... maybe we'll go through this arc. I don't know how long this will be, but maybe this will be where we end off for tonight after this arc. Because I think this is one of the arcs where he's like, he got me. Like, when I say Joon got me on this one. He basically told me he researched more than me and found more information out than what I remembered and said that I was wrong. So let's see how badly I was wrong of my recollections of this. And I'm very curious myself with this one because I don't know how wrong I was. Let's find out.
And so, by...
Oh, by the way, thank you, Spencer, for another super chat saying, jokes aside, I appreciate more lenient chat moderation. It's good to have banter with critics and benign trolls who aren't completely unhinged. Yeah, as you can see, I'm letting it roll. I let my chat roll, unless there's like really nasty stuff in there. It's all good.
October, thekingofhate.com was up and running. Mainly used as a fan site, this website was fully equipped with forums and not a host of actual videos. Fan input and support was at an all-time high. That's why in November, he made an exorbitant amount of money.
Yes. That first month, Thank you, J-Rock. 5 gifted memberships to the community. I appreciate that. Made $18,000.
In the first half of December, Phil made another $13,000, though it is unclear if YouTube actually paid it out. Regardless, if what Phil says is true about him making around $200 on average in the prior months, then he was now making 100 times more.
Yes.
This was unsustainable.
Mid-December, I get a message from YouTube. Dear Mr. Burnell, we have detected invalid clicking activity on your videos. Therefore, as a result of said activity, we are suspending. We're not turning off. We're not completely removing. We are suspending your AdSense account.
Phil claims that this increase in click activity was due to viewers feeling bad for him, not considering that the average person does not know how YouTubers make their money. This was mysterious by intention, done to avoid users clicking on ads for the sake of helping out their favorite creator. And if viewer support via DSP's instruction could staunch his income, what could viewer hostility do?
This. I said, YouTube, with their AdSense program, literally tell everyone, don't talk to your fans.
DSP Cult Leader? Wow, he found the Cult Leader channel. This was my first real detractor. DSP Cult Leader was a fan who somehow I had pissed off. I don't know if I had banned him from my channel or something. I don't know what happened. But for some reason, he hated me, and he was my very first ever detractor on YouTube. DSP Cult Leader, yes.
About it. Don't tell them how AdSense works, because then you would incentivize them to do stuff and commit fraud. Basically, how much you guys participate with this channel, if you know what I mean. I'm not allowed to come out and just say, you know, how you can do that, but anyone who's accustomed to YouTube and how the partner channels work, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
This is the controversy, okay? What's about to happen is Joon is going to play you a video. For some reason, he's playing the detractor video. He's not playing the original video. So in my original face reveal video, which this is right here, okay? This was, I believe I want to say this was like early 2010. It might have been 2009, actually. It was either 2009 or 2010, but it was early on, okay? In this video, I actually say outright to my audience, which I should never have said, and I publicly admitted this was my fault. I said, you know, if you want to help, yeah, you know, you can click on ads and stuff like that. I never should have said that, right? That is something fucked up. That you know, why are you saying that to your audience, right? Well, guess what? I said that in that video, and that video stayed live for either like around a year. Because again, if it was 2009, it was over a year. If it was 2010, it was like a year. Okay. At the end of 2010, that December, that's when YouTube said they detected invalid click activity on my videos and suspended my AdSense. So if what I'm going to say in this video is what got me demonetized on YouTube, then why did it take them a year? Because that's not what got me demonetized on YouTube. What got me demonetized is I lost my job, my fans felt bad, and they went and did that. Despite me never asking them to do that, they did it anyway because they felt bad, and then because it was such an overabundance of that, YouTube said, that's not valid, obviously. You're not intended to get that much engagement with ads on YouTube. That's, you know, obviously they can't keep paying me that much money a month. They're going to pay me $18,000 a month for a little rinky-dink channel doing vlogs? Of course they're not. So they turned it off. But it wasn't anything I did. It was not me saying it in this video, because this video was live at least a year before they turned off my ads, and no action was taken. It was the actual increase in ad revenue that happened out of nowhere when I lost my job that got the action taken. So it's unrelated, but this is always the narrative of my detractors, is that they want to say it's all my fault. Listen, it was wrong for me to say that in this video back then, but that is not the root cause of why I was demonetized on YouTube.
That's where the fun comes from. So I just want to say thanks a lot to everyone. I hope to entertain you in the future. Please go to my partner channel, The King of Hate HD, and click on the ads that show up on the videos.
There it is. And that video, that was my real face reveal video, and that was, I believe, 2009. If it was early 2010, I apologize, but I think that was early 2009. And that video was live for over a year before I was demonetized.
DSP Cult Leader was a channel that represented a growing disdain for DSP. This channel was falling under the umbrella of detractor content, or those that at this moment believed DSP was not exactly truthful or transparent with his intentions. In late December of 2010, this channel was releasing various videos showing contradictions in DSP's words, like the reason he was suspended from the AdSense program, or just items that the uploader personally disagreed with. Additionally, though Phil positioned himself as tight with money, he was still able to purchase a few high-end collectibles here and there. The amount of statues and figurines were noticeably increasing. Perhaps it was because he felt secure, not in YouTube, but in Blip.tv. This was a website that was trying to compete with YouTube and was on
the Blip TV saga, and probably arguably the worst thing that I ever said online. Maybe this is where we'll end it tonight. Let's see.
A lookout for talent. DSP, a very large channel, was welcomed with open arms, and soon after joining was the second largest channel on Blip.tv, and was on an exclusive, superior contract. Here, he uploaded gameplay and vlogging videos alike, while still uploading videos to YouTube as a fallback. That's how DSP entered 2011. His attention split between two competing websites. In January, a demo for the upcoming highly anticipated game, Dead Space 2, was released to help build up hype. DSP was among those that downloaded it and among the few to record it.
Oh, this sounds fun.
Then, he was the sole creator that made the most controversial video that was not even related to the already controversial gameplay.
This is what happens when you let the Jews do whatever they want. You've let the Jews overrun space, and now look at this. Their greed has had the artifact turn everyone into necromorphs. So now I, the last remaining Nazi, must exterminate them. Hello, Jew.
Phil, role-playing as the last surviving space Nazi, did not translate well to his audience that quickly reported his anti-Semitic jokes. Unlike YouTube, Blip.tv sought to purge Phil and banned him from the platform. He was also, in essence, blacklisted from working with any existing creators on Blip. So for the third time in just 3 months, Phil had to restructure his job and figure out how to make money again.
You know, Hutch, sorry, but obviously you've proven that you can't be mature about it. I sure as hell didn't go to your page to try to fucking flame your fans, so enjoy your block.
I mean, so now he's moving on already? I mean, there's nothing to say there. That's an indefensible joke. How I defended it at the time was I was a fan of Howard Stern, and on the Howard Stern show, they had people who acted like Nazis and made Jew jokes like that. But what I failed to understand, being an immature, drunken idiot, is that Howard Stern is Jewish. If Howard Stern wants to make a joke about Jews like that, I mean, it's still offensive, but at least he's in the position where he's like, you know, Jewish, so it's not as offensive. Like, if I had gone on there and I said I was killing off all the Italians because I'm Italian, right? I am Italian in real life, just so you guys know. It would still be offensive. But at least it's like, well, at least the Italian is saying the joke about an Italian, right? I had absolutely no right to say that at all. There was no way that you can spin that as, oh, that's a good joke. That's a joke that should be allowed. I understand that now, but back then I was like all defensive about it. Like, oh, I was just trying to be like Howard Stern. I don't understand why they kicked me off the site. And they didn't give me any chance to basically do anything about it. For example, I was the #2 guy on all of Blip TV. I was bringing them in tons of views and money. They offered me an exclusive contract. I was going to actually work with the guys from Channel Awesome. That's right. The Nostalgia Critic. Back then it was called That Guy with the Glasses. And I was going to work with them on their Blistered Thumbs channel and put my content up, and I was going to team up with them and be a part of their team. They were open arms, happy to have me. I had a call, not with Doug, but with his brother. I forget his name right now, but I had a call with his brother, and we talked all about the future and how exciting this was going to be. And I even had a call lined up with the management, the upper management of Blip for a week later to talk about a higher end contract and all these things that were going to happen for me. These doors were going to open because I went to Blip from YouTube. They really wanted me. Then I decided, because I was a complete moron, to do that joke. Like, of all the times, your doors are opening, people are liking you, let's do the most offensive possible thing. That sounds like a good idea, Phil. I'm a moron. I'm a fucking asshole, all right? It's indefensible. It was stupid. I've apologized for it many times. I'll apologize for it again here publicly. I'm a dunce. I shouldn't have said it. And I was appropriately removed from the site for doing it. Let's continue.
You're no longer allowed to talk on any of my fucking videos. And then here we go. Oh, look, it's Hutch. And he sends me this giant fucking message. I told you I was done. You don't listen, so you're blocked. I don't ever want to hear from you.
The Hutch rivalry. This didn't last very long, though. I wonder how in-depth he'll go into this.
Again.
Hutch, a gaming creator who worked for Machinima and held a lot of influence with the multi-channel network, had changed tones with DSP. Feeling sympathetic, and after a short back and forth through email, Hutch was able to pull some strings and get his channel partnered again. Not with YouTube directly, but through Machinima as the third party, therefore circumventing Phil's own suspended AdSense account. This was an increasing strategy where YouTube could negate its copyright fears by placing the responsibility on multi-channel networks like Machinima. In turn, they would be rewarded by reaping a portion of the ad revenue. So for the first time ever on YouTube, all of Phil's content could be monetized. In the background, there was one issue, or faction, Phil could not shake. Not even a day after getting partnered with Machinima, the prominent detractor channel, DSP Cult Leader, uploaded a video from the year prior where Phil denounced Machinima.
You know, they're nice enough to go on my partner channel and watch those videos and click the ads and things like that, so all I have to really say is fuck you, Machinima.
Mostly unfazed by these counter-narratives, Phil continued to upload copious amounts of now monetized content with newfound confidence.
Yeah, if you can believe it, I'm living the dream, and you can only go up from here.
For a while, this was the case.
Yep.
In May of 2000...
All right, thank you, Jared, for a super chat saying, is any of your merch still available, like a King of Hate mug or anything? No, I don't have any merch. I haven't for many years. It's because of my detractors. They got me kicked out of every possible place to make merch. They messaged them and showed them shit like that Dead Space clip, acting like that's something I do today in 2024 when it was in 2010. And then everyone's like, oh, we want nothing to do with Phil, so they won't let me make merch. Maybe one day I'll be able to make it again, but as of now, no, I don't have any merch. And Andrea, thanks for 7 months at the level at submissions level here. First half of the movie's great. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. The rest of the movie's great. It's just a big upward trend. Trust me, nothing could possibly go wrong.
2011, he had a $1,600 computer built by the same fans that created and were...
All right, here it is. This is where I wanted to end tonight. I'm fascinated by this because I think I misremember this whole situation, and Joon says he got to the bottom of it and figured it all out. So I want to hear the true story because apparently I'm completely wrong and in the wrong in this story. So let's see.
Running his website. Phil was still going to fighting game events, though not as frequently, and if not clear already, he was making a decent amount of money. In the course of 8 months, Phil was cluttering all facets of his condo with collectibles or equally unessential items. His 2011 condo tour showcased how much his apartment had changed. On the walls, counters, even the floor, it was difficult to find a square foot of clear space. There was even an entire corner of his condo solely dedicated to the boxes of the items he had purchased.
Yep.
The density of items took space, not just
Clutter Master. Looks like I'm a hoarder, right? It was bad.
Physical space, but also with the condo tour runtime that by part 3 saw Phil categorizing just segments of his small condo as to speed up the pace of the video. The first 3 parts had reached a total runtime of over 30 minutes, and this was hardly everything. Phil had covered...
And my condo was tiny. My condo was super small. Just think about that, how much shit I had cluttered in there.
The open space, or lack thereof, between his kitchen and living room. Left to review, besides the bathroom, was his bedroom that was similarly decorated with gamer memorabilia and other items Phil took interest in.
This artwork is actually painted completely with her breasts, and it's custom artwork that she makes.
Oh my god, I remember
and
that.
She does all kinds of different paintings and such. And I was actually thinking, this is so nice, it's so artistic.
People were sending me all kinds of shit. They were sending me handmade controllers. They were sending me handmade artwork. You know, crazy shit like this, just constant shit.
Stick looking, that if I do get an office next year, like I had talked about doing, that I may actually commission her to do a couple more paintings for the office. I thought that would be pretty cool.
On that note, the only thing preventing Phil from stockpiling more was lack of space, which he sought to remedy.
If I get more artwork, where's it really going to go? There's only a couple spots left that I've been looking, like a couple spots in the bedroom or whatever, but at this... wow, at this point, it's pretty much all filled up.
I love that he left that in there. I love that he left the insane belch in there to make me look like the oaf I was. That's great.
What I'd like to do is get the hell out of here and get us, like I said, get an office where I can do a lot of my filming, where I can do my uploading, and not have to worry about my modem going down here, having a business class internet, having a place where I could do better filming. And I sure as hell, I'm not sure that that's ever going to happen.
As much as he collected, there was a space he felt was consistently vacant. He was lacking a significant other. Quote, now for my favorite part of the story.
I actually think we should maybe end it here because this might be a big arc. How long is this segment? Oh, it's not long. It's only like 4 minutes. Oh, we can do it then. Let's do that. I'm trying to find the right time to stop here. If this is only 4 minutes, we can do this.
My sweet waffle Philip. I met him in November 2011 online, YouTube actually, while he was and currently is making video game playthroughs. We're still going strong despite some hurdles. The biggest one is other people. We are a May-December romance. He is 11 years older, but it makes our bonds even stronger. He is so supportive of my
What is this? I guess she had a blog. I didn't even know she had this. She had a blog? Oh, I had no idea that she had a blog. I've never seen this before. Go figure. Oh God, you gotta wonder what's in there. I wonder if he found shit I had no idea she had this.
crafty ways,
Holy
even
shit.
if he doesn't understand half of it. We're even planning and
Oh,
taking
boy.
steps to opening our own online bath beauty business. But moving in together comes first, because he lives in Connecticut. Told you we have hurdles, but that's all for now. I'm sure everyone will get to know me well soon enough. I can't wait to learn and share and confide in what seems like such great people. Smiley face. Unquote. That was from a future post created by Leanna, or Panda Lee as she was going as online. Leanna met Phil through the now defunct YouTube message system as a fan, only for Phil to escalate the relationship by providing her with his more private email. By February of 2012, they had become a couple, and Phil saw it fit to introduce her to his audience on Valentine's Day.
Hello everyone, Darkside Phil here, and with me today.
And this was the beginning of such a shitstorm. Like, I would argue that up to now, up to this point, in fact, we're about 2.5 hours into the React tonight, right? There has never really been anything that was bad, that was like a shitstorm at all. I mean, yeah, me getting bumped around by YouTube copyright strikes, blip, doing dumb shit, the FGC drama, that's nothing. This was really the first big drama ever that I experienced as a content creator online, was introducing my ex to my audience, her becoming a part of my content and my life. This was the beginning of the very first humongo shitstorm.
Today is my beautiful girlfriend, Leanna, who also is known as Panda Lee on YouTube.
Quote, a special note, Panda Lee is not Asian. That is all, unquote. This was an annotation found on the video, a request likely by Panda Lee to avoid confusion of her race.
Right, because she picked the name Panda Lee and she didn't want people to think that she was Asian because she had like a, you know, what is it? A panda is what, a Chinese bear or whatever? So she didn't want people to think that she was Asian when she wasn't.
It is likely her because she also made sure to clear this up in an interview held through a Twisted Metal lobby.
Some guy on the reveal video commented that I look like an old Asian woman, so...
Yeah, they're all immature. Don't pay attention to DSP fans. They're fucking idiots. A lot of them are fucking idiots.
If they ever need a really awkward Asian-looking non-Asian chick...
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh my God, people in chat are like, Yoko Ono, Yoko Ono. Ugh. You know, I will just say this because we're about to end this day one of the React. When I was becoming a prominent YouTuber, all right, there was no track record of anyone else who had done this kind of stuff and was successful. There was no one before DSP who was a Let's Player, who was prolific, who was doing this shit, right? There were people who came up with me and then grew bigger than me, but I was like one of the first. There was no one to say, okay, here's how they did it, follow their example. So by introducing someone who's my significant other at the time to a public audience, never did I think that it would become like a big negative thing, that it would blow up in my face, that everyone would be angry. And that's exactly what happened, okay? I mean, I was ignorant because there was no example to follow. Today, you can watch stories like mine and you can figure this out. Today, I absolutely separate my personal life from my public persona because I realize when they meld too much, it causes tons of problems. But I only learned that the hard way through this saga. By the way, Chuck Norris did a $50 super chat and says, long live the king, laughing my ass off. I'm a longtime lurker, on and off watcher. Thanks for the content and honesty. I owe much more than 50 for the amount watched. Great stream. Thank you, Chuck. I hope you'll be back all week. This is continuing all week long. And Spencer did another super chat and he says, DSP made mistakes. Everyone else can learn from him. That's right. Please learn. Please learn from my mistakes. This is a cautionary tale and you can learn a lot.
So what are your favorite games?
I just want to know how many Asians have green eyes. That's what I want to know. I've never met an Asian with green eyes.
Neither have I. So,
yeah, I have green eyes. Very rare, so...
What games
I figured that would give away that I'm not Asian.
While Panda Lee was trying to convince Phil's audience that she is not Asian, Phil's audience was more curious about the 11-year age gap, with Phil being 29 years old and Panda Lee being 18. Rumors spread that they began dating when she was underage, but these are unsubstantiated and no evidence of such has ever been brought forward.
Thank you, Joon, for saying that, because so many people have said awful things over the years, that I'm a groomer and shit. Couldn't be further from the truth. For the record, she messaged me through the YouTube DM system when she was already 18, and that was the first time we ever talked. And after that, she was always illegal. It's nonsense, these things that people say. I didn't groom her. She reached out to me, and that's when we started an online talking back and forth for many months until we finally met in person. So, but that's the thing. People dislike me so much, they will literally make up stuff to fit their narrative. They have arguably made up so much stuff, you know what I'm saying, about this situation, that you will find evidence that's not real. They fabricated evidence about it. You'll find it all over the internet. Oh yeah, see, here's the evidence. There's no evidence. Joon researched it and himself said there's no evidence. It's bullshit, you see?
That cannot be said about the rest of the criticisms surrounding Panda Lee, which there are many of.
Okay, so a word
yes.
to the wise, do not fucking get an apartment, like, ever. Just don't. I don't care what neighborhood you live in. It can be as white as anything.
I guess this is her video, because this ain't mine. I don't even know what this is. Again, she did her own thing, and I don't even know what she was doing. So maybe she had posts. Maybe this is her own stuff. I have no clue.
Don't fucking get an apartment, because you know why? You know why it's a white neighborhood? Because the white people live in the houses around it. The police is here. Yep, I called the police. You know why? Because 3 buildings away, I had all these windows and doors closed, but I could hear this Latin CD perfectly that if I knew Spanish enough, I could probably translate it for you.
Panda Lee would sometimes do playthroughs with DSP and John Rambo. Still, DSP's best friend had a large catalog of playthroughs with Phil and
Are we? No, we're still okay. Sorry, we're getting to the end here.
was a favorite of the channel. Panda Lee, being a newcomer and with her being argumentative with Rambo, meant she was making a bad impression.
I was just being difficult. Alright, well anyway.
Panda Lee was a fair match for Phil because she had similar reasoning and an argumentative personality that Phil often portrayed in his videos. As for his videos, DSP peaked in late 2011. Now, 2012, the trend was downward, and
okay, that's it. This is the end. I'm trying to find the split here.
Instead of getting a capture card to improve the quality of his videos, he sought experimentation elsewhere.
Okay, this is a good place to end, because now we'll absolutely remember tomorrow we start on Project 7. Okay, all right. Well, it certainly has been a journey so far. The early years, I guess you could call that, the Street Fighter shit, which has nothing to do with my YouTube presence, and then the early years of YouTube. It's cool to go back and reminisce about it. I guess we really haven't gotten into the big controversies yet, at all. Yeah, it's from what I'm seeing here. I'm really not seeing the controversies yet. So this is a good start for sure. There was a couple things Joon was wrong on. Notably, what was the one that I called out? Oh, the whole invalid click activity. And he's kind of presenting it as if the reason that this happened is because I said to click my videos, when in reality that video had been present on YouTube for over a year. There's no way over a year later they noticed it and demonetized me. Just so happening at the time when everyone was going crazy supporting me because I lost my job. I think that's the one thing so far that he got wrong. But outside of that, everything else there was pretty accurate. Okay. The Jaha stuff, he's not going to know. There's no documentation for any of it anywhere. So you could say that I lied too. You can say he was wrong, I'm wrong. Who cares? It's in the past. It's old shit. I'm never going to be involved with that shit ever again, So, but all right. So what I would like to say is for everyone who was here live, thank you all so very much. I hope that you enjoyed day 1 of my live reacting to the Joon the King documentary, The Eternal Fall of Darkside Phil. Tomorrow we will resume, same time, same place, with Project 7 and continue on from there. We got about an hour into it, which is good, because if we continue with an hour a night, that means I'll finish it by the end of Thursday night, which is kind of my goal. I don't want to have it go longer than that, but if we have to give it more time, we will give it more time. Okay, we will. So, by the way, I got a $5 tip, a final contribution here via tips from Okie Dokie. You outlasted Blip TV. Should have had your back. Do you still have the boob painting? No, long gone. What was your ex? A woman? Did you have her take a 23andMe test? No. Would you take that test? Oh. It's $69, very affordable. Oh, but thanks for the $5 tip. I don't know what it has anything to do with anything. A guitar player here, the $2 super chat says he remembered watching that Valentine announcement video way back in the day. So thank you, guitar player, for being a part of my fan base for a very long time. Okay, that's what we're gonna call it a wrap for tonight. We resume tomorrow. Thank you all for being here live. For those who watched on demand, I'm going to leave this as an archive stream. Therefore, it is in an impacted, and it is in entirety, basically. So you won't have to see, clips, things cut up. I might or might not clip this a bit over the week. I'll find good parts to clip. I don't know if I want to do that tonight. I think I'll just let it ride. But enjoy. Watch this, and I hope you liked it. And tomorrow we continue. All right, guys? And thank you for the support, obviously. Great support tonight. And looking forward to doing it all again tomorrow. So, for day one here on DSP Reacts of reacting to my documentary, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Please have a good evening. Those watching on demand, enjoy. I'm going to actually put this into a playlist as well. So this is the way all these streams will be played in a row eventually, and you can just watch them all. Boom, 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 boom. And we do it all again tomorrow night. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow.